make a plea for that, for a transfer of the FIR to Delhi. So it seems like there seems to be a longer legal battle ahead for Nupur Sharma if she hopes to get any relief in this petition that has been filed by her. But we'll still have to wait for the final order to see how many of these oral observations that have been made by the Supreme Court actually make it to the final order that is being put forth by the court today.
Nalini, stay with us. I'm going to also bring in Anisha Mathur on this, who's tracking the same developments. Anisha, at this point, Supreme Court coming down heavy on Nupur Sharma, saying that she is single-handedly responsible for the atmosphere we see in the country. That's such a massive statement to make, a huge statement to make at this point. But does that mean that the police will crack a whip on Nupur Sharma at this point? We know that Delhi police have given her additional security because she does face threat to life. But does that also mean they will take cognizance of what the Supreme Court is now indicating, also raising questions on why she hasn't been arrested despite multiple FIRs? Also give us a small understanding on which are those states that Nupur Sharma currently is facing a case.
Well, Nabila, Nupur Sharma is facing FIRs in multiple states, including Delhi, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and several others. That is why she has approached the Supreme Court, asking for relief, asking for clubbing of the FIR, asking that she should not be called again and again. Now, what is important to note is that the court has declined to give her any relief at this stage. The court has said that if you have a problem with multiple FIRs, also multiple FIRs in the same states that have been filed against her, then she should go to the relevant high court of those states for relief. She should not have come here. What is also very, very important is the oral remarks made by the Supreme Court, where the bench has commented that she, as the spokesperson, should have not made such remarks, that she is single-handedly responsible for the situation in the country, for the vitiated atmosphere in the country. They've, in fact, even referred to Udaipur, that is also a direct consequence of her remarks made on the channel, when her lawyer argued that those remarks were provoked, or that the other side, the debater from the other side, had also made certain inflammatory remarks. The court said that if you were being provoked or if something untoward was being said, then you should have filed a complaint against the other debater, against the TV channel, against the anchor. But instead of doing that, you have made this kind of remarks. And in fact, you have not even apologized or withdrawn those remarks till there was a major furor. You only said that you are conditionally taking back those remarks, saying that in case somebody's sentiments has been heard, you are withdrawing those statements. But that is only a conditional statement. That is not an apology. You should have gone to the channels, gone back to the channels and apologized to the entire country for making such remarks, because it is your remark that is responsible directly for the current situation in the country. What is also important is that the court has commented that by saying that she cannot appear before the magistrate again and again, she is showing arrogance and disrespect for the magistrate's court. The court is saying it seems that you want a red carpet treatment just because you're a spokesperson, and that is all. By making all of these very, very pointed comments, the Supreme Court has refused to entertain her petition. But we'll have to, as my colleague Nalini was saying, we'll have to wait and see whether any of these observations that have been made in the open court are also reflected in the order that is finally passed by the court, or is it that the court will simply allow her to withdraw the petition and go to the High Court with no adverse remarks written in black and white in the court's orders. But right now, the oral remarks made in the open court were very, very pointed, saying that it was her responsibility as a spokesperson to be responsible about the remarks that she is making, that she should not have said whatever she wants. Just because she's a spokesperson does not give her the right to say whatever she wants in a TV debate. And the court is making very pointed statements about Nupur Sharma's role in the current situation, in the current atmosphere in the country. And Udaipur, the violence that we are seeing there, that was also specifically taken note of by the court, that even that is a direct consequence of what she had said. So it is very, very important to note that the court has made it stand very clear. Now, whether the police takes any action remains to be seen, because there are multiple FIRs against her, and the court is being very pointed about it when it's asked that even if there is an FIR against you, you have not been arrested. Other people have been arrested on your complaints. So why is it that the police has not taken action against you? And that is a pointed comment coming in from the court. Whether the police chooses to respond to these comments, whether the police chooses to take any action in response to these comments is something we'll have to wait and see. But it is very clear that the Supreme Court is very unhappy about the way this entire case, this entire situation is playing out. Back to you.
You know, Anisha, of course, undoubtedly, Nupur Sharma, as the BJP spokesperson, should have displayed responsibility and caution, which is exactly what the Supreme Court currently is observing. And they also say very clearly that they've watched the debate. They saw how she may have been incited, but it was disappointing with the way she responded and then claimed that she was a lawyer. It appears that hasn't gone down too well with the Supreme Court, that she's of course been boasting of the fact that she herself is a lawyer and tried to make comments that were irresponsible as per the Supreme Court. And that's exactly what the Supreme Court observing, that don't show arrogance. You have some responsibility, you've got to adhere to it. That's more or less what the Supreme Court has said. But stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Sanjay Hegde, senior lawyer, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Hegde, here we're looking at Nupur Sharma, who's gone to the Supreme Court with a limited petition, but it seems like the Supreme Court come down heavy on her, almost blaming her for being single-handedly responsible for what's happening in the country.
What, in a way, do you say that the Supreme Court was wrong? Ultimately, all of us choose our words with a sense of responsibility. We may come on TV programs as experts or as representatives of political parties, but one never goes beyond the norms of peace in a civil society. If you want to provoke violence, and sorry to say this right on this channel and to your face, but channels also like to incite, and the Supreme Court in the same case has had asked questions of the channel as well and said were they running an agenda. So it is high time that all of us learn to go back to a civil discourse.
Mr. Hegde, we do understand in the thick of, in the midst of a debate and when there's emotions running high, people make comments of such nature. It's happened in the past as well. Nupur Sharma being pulled up for a comment that she has made on Prophet Muhammad. The outrage wouldn't have happened had it not been for many of the Gulf countries stepping in and a huge backlash on the other side. But don't you observe that these are comments otherwise made rampantly?
Are you saying that,
no, I'm not justifying for it. I'm not justifying for it. I'm saying Nupur Sharma being pulled up single-handedly and the Supreme Court saying that she's to be blamed for the entire atmosphere in the nation today. How do you look at that?
So are you say, do you want to say me to say that the Supreme Court is wrong? I won't say that. That's number one. And number two, do you need the Gulf countries to police you? Otherwise, if the Gulf countries had not said anything, then what this lady said was right. Please, there are, for a long time, this country has gone on.
Just to ask you.
I am sorry. You've called me on the program.
Yes,
so
absolutely. No, I'm just asking your opinion, of course, not to cast any aspersions on what the Supreme Court is saying.
No. So exactly, the Supreme Court, and when the Supreme Court says it, it says it as the Supreme Court for the country. And the Supreme Court has also asked very pertinent questions of that channel. But it was that channel that day. Your channel or other channels have been no less. And it's a salutary message from the Supreme Court to all channels. Please do not harvest hatred.
So at this point, the Supreme Court further observing that there are people who have been arrested, many of them who have made contrary remarks. But Nupur Sharma, despite having as many FIRs in different states, so far has not been arrested. This is not a direction from the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court observing the developments. Does that mean this is a backhanded direction that she needs to be brought to book?
I don't think the Supreme Court is giving any backhanded directions. Even in the other Tisa Settlewad case, the Supreme Court doesn't direct. The Supreme Court makes observations as are necessary for the disposal of the case. In this case, the Supreme Court said, we will not grant you relief. Nupur Sharma's lawyer thereafter withdrew the petition.
So,
Asked for liberty to
how
withdraw
must
the
that be
petition.
conceived, ideally?
No, it is for the authorities to do their job. There are several FIRs. Which FIR is investigated? There has to be an investigation in this case, right? It can't be that all the authorities all over the country say, no, there's an FIR in another place, there's an FIR in this place, so we will not do anything. So one FIR has to be the lead FIR, possibly the first FIR, and then everything else, the legal process must go. And while I say this, let me be absolutely clear. Only the legal process. There is no justification for anyone taking the law into their own hands. Whatever is the process of law, only that, nothing else. We have to be very careful about what we say. That, again, is my message.
Right, sir. Here, a quick word on the Supreme Court further saying that this is absolute arrogance displayed by Nupur Sharma by reaching out to the apex court. Why did you not explore options in the lower courts? What does that really mean? Nupur Sharma at this point feels that she may find some relief from the apex court, considering there are multiple FIRs. What does that really mean? If you can tell us, what were the actual legal options before her which she failed to explore?
It was the same question in Maharashtra also. Everywhere the Supreme Court says, please don't rush to us at the first instance. Take all the avenues which are available in law and which are available to the lower courts before you come up the ladder. Don't charge into the Supreme Court merely because there is Article 32 of the Constitution. Yes, the Supreme Court has the power, but the Supreme Court has very strict rules on when it will exercise the power. And yes, there was a reference to another journalist who got immediate relief by coming to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said that that is a one-off case. It is quite possible that one-off precedent, a one-off case will not be a precedent.
You know, a very shocking statement that the Supreme Court has made where she says that she faces threat. The Supreme Court saying that, do you face threat or are you a security threat? Well,
very often the Supreme Court is responding to arguments which are made. And I would not wish to place any words or any interpretation onto the Supreme Court's mouth beyond what is there on the record. So the Supreme Court asked that question, and I don't think the Council answered it.
At this point, the Supreme Court also saying you haven't apologized to the country. But Nupur Sharma so far, sir, has she says that I've withdrawn my statement. Does that amount to an apology?
Well, that is for Nupur Sharma to consider her position. Was that an apology? If it was said, I did this, I'm sorry, I withdraw, but etc., etc., etc. An apology with a justification. I'm only speaking of pure law in terms of contempt of court and other than. An unconditional apology is an unconditional apology. An apology with conditions is sometimes not treated as an apology.
Right. So, you know, when there's often, critique saying that when there are, this is just a question out of law, considering there are several people who often criticize and poke fun at Hindu gods, there's really nobody to speak for them. Nupur Sharma makes a comment, but then because of the Gulf countries' intervention, it seems like this has become a serious case. How would you observe that?
Well, each person has their own definition of religion, right? And when you say people poking fun of Hindu gods, I would invite you and your channel to cover what happens in Banaras right across the Ganga on Holy Day and how our relationship with Hindu gods is quite different from the followers of other religions to their gods. they may have fearful gods. We are on a much more informal basis with our gods. At least that's the Hinduism that I know, which has been practiced in this country for centuries before this current political dispensation.
Right. Sanjay Hegde, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time and your understanding on this case. Remember, the Supreme Court hearing currently still underway on Nupur Sharma's limited plea, asking for all the FIRs spread across in different states against her. We are looking at FIRs against her in Maharashtra. Apart from Delhi, in Maharashtra, in Telangana, we're looking at multiple states right now, that Rajasthan as well, where FIRs have been filed against her, but no arrest on Nupur Sharma so far. In fact, she's been given added security because she faces threat to life. Anisha Mathur for more on that. Anisha, has the Supreme Court now come down with a conclusion? What's the likelihood of them giving her any relief to club all the FIRs together in Delhi so that it's better for her in terms of movement and she feels safe in the national capital?
Well, Nabila, the court has dismissed the petition. They have asked Nupur Sharma to withdraw the petition and approach the high courts of each state with regard to the clubbing of the FIRs that have been filed. Remember, Nupur Sharma in her petition had said that there are FIRs against her in different states as well as multiple FIRs in different police stations in the same state. The court has said you should have gone first to the high court, and that is the end of this hearing in the Supreme Court today, with the Supreme Court making these very, very pointed remarks on Nupur Sharma's conduct, saying that you have not apologized to the country. You're single-handedly responsible for what is happening across the country right now, that you as a spokesperson should have been more responsible, that if there was any provocation from the other side, you should have filed a complaint about it instead of making this kind of a statement. And after saying all of these things, after making all of these remarks, after in fact rapping Nupur Sharma for approaching the Supreme Court, the court in fact even even commenting that it reeks of arrogance, this entire process reeks of arrogance, that instead of going and appearing before the magistrate or even instead of going to the high court, you come directly to the Supreme Court. And in fact, the court also mentioning the Udaipur incident, saying that this is also a consequence of your statement. And all of these very, very sharp remarks from the Supreme Court, which has refused to give any relief to Nupur Sharma, saying that the conscience of the court is not stirred. We do not think that there is any reason to give you any relief. And that is why they have said that Nupur Sharma should withdraw this petition and go before the High Court of each state for any relief that she wants. So setback for Nupur Sharma from the Supreme Court. Not only has her petition been dismissed, she has also been subjected to these very, very pointed remarks from the court regarding her conduct, regarding that she has not yet apologized. That conditional apology or a conditional statement of withdrawing her remarks is not enough. That is what the court is saying. What is also important is that the court has questioned why there has been no action against her. In fact, the court is saying that on your complaint, people have been arrested, but you have not yet been touched. And when she's pointing out, her lawyer pointed out that there are other cases where FIRs were clubbed. They're saying those were different situations. A journalist is at a different footing than the spokesperson of a party who goes to a channel and makes such a responsible statement. This is a direct quote from the court, which has said that because she was citing certain cases where relief was given, the court has said you are on a different footing because you're the spokesperson of a party going on a channel and making this kind of statement. You should have been more responsible and you have not apologized.
Absolutely. Anisha, a quick word on right now, what's the next course of action in that case? Now that the Supreme Court has refused to club her FIRs, they've asked her to go to the High Court. What's the likelihood? So she should be ideally approaching the Delhi High Court on this?
Well, at the moment, considering that there are so many FIRs against her, she would have to approach all the state high courts where petitions, where FIRs have been filed against her. As far as the clubbing of the issue is concerned, the reason why Nupur Sharma had come here to the Supreme Court is because of the fact that there are multiple states involved. At the moment, because the court has refused to grant her any relief, she will have to ask for protection from arrest in each specific FIR from each specific high court. So a long legal battle ahead. For Nupur Sharma, this is not going to be easy for her to fight it out.
Undoubtedly.
And especially with the remarks made, it is now a question also to see whether any state police will take any action against her. Back to you.
Anisha, thank you very much for that. Of course, Nupur Sharma at this point, it's going to be a difficult road up ahead for her. She's now got to be exploring her legal options in the lower courts, which means multiple states where FIRs have been filed against her. Those are the states that she'll have to approach that local high court. On that note, I'm going to slip into a short break. We'll be continuing that coverage on the other side. Do stay with us.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171.
Today is, the launch to the world of a fully operational urban airport. The first time ever in the world that there's an operational piece of infrastructure of this kind.
I think you'll see some operations this decade, but I think the 2030s will really be the decade of advanced air mobility, and you'll really start to see this be more ubiquitous from that point on.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching.
The US is moving a resolution against India to make it a country of concern. This resolution was introduced by Ilhan Omar in the House of Representatives. A 2022 report by the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom alleges violations of human rights and religious freedom in India. The report stated that the Indian government is promoting a Hindu nationalist agenda that negatively affects all Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Dalits, and other religious minorities. But India has rejected the report, saying it's vote bank politics in international relations. What does the resolution say? These resolutions are not legally binding, but express the collective sentiment of the House if passed. Ilhan Omar's resolution stated India's human rights violations and international religious freedom in India. It also stated that Indian government uses the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the UAPA, and the Sedition Law to intimidate those speaking against the government. They have called upon the US Secretary of State to designate India as a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998. What is a country of particular concern? Countries of particular concern are where the government either engages in or tolerates particularly severe violations of religious freedom. This can include torture or cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment, prolonged detention without charges, causing the disappearance of persons by abduction, denial of the right to life, liberty or security of persons. The 2022 report recommends a total of 15 countries to be designated as CPCs. These include Afghanistan, China, Iran, Pakistan, Russia, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, Vietnam and Syria. India has categorically retorted, stating that it is a naturally pluralistic society and values religious freedom and human rights for all to see.
You are watching India Today.
Powered by The World Comes Together at Sharda University.
Very good afternoon. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jabal taking you through the top news. First, the headlines. Supreme Court pulls up former BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma for her Prophet Muhammad remarks, says that she must apologize to the nation, blames her for the Udaipur beheading. Another setback to Sena. Supreme Court refuses to hear a plea seeking suspension of 16 rebels urgently, says we'll hear the matter only on 11th of July. Shinde trust vote in Maharashtra Assembly on the 4th of July. One symbol, one party and two claimants. The war between Shinde camp and Uddhav Thackeray camp over who is the real Shiv Sena rages on. Shinde all set to claim the party symbol. And Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut appears before the Enforcement Directorate in the Patra Chawl land scam case, says he's not scared. And a big blowback of Kanhaiya Lal beheading. Gehlot government removes Udaipur SP and the IG. Killers now shifted to high security jail in Ajmer. Agencies probing their Pakistan links. And floods wreak havoc in northeast. Over 30 lakh people affected in Assam. Unprecedented downpour. Landslides reported in Arunachal. Parts of Bihar now inundated. All right, in a big setback to Nupur Sharma, Supreme Court has now pulled up BJP's ex-spokesperson over Prophet Muhammad's remarks that she's made. The top court has accused Nupur Sharma of igniting emotions across the country, saying that she's solely responsible for the environment in the country today and owes the nation an apology. Supreme Court has also said that the horrendous beheading in Udaipur is more or less the responsible. In fact, this is triggered by Nupur Sharma's remarks on Prophet Muhammad. This is exactly what the Supreme Court has said. Here, the apex court saying that she has single-handedly set the nation on fire. This is the statement that the Supreme Court has said while hearing a limited petition by Nupur Sharma asking for a transfer of all the FIRs filed against her over the comments that she's made. All the FIRs that was filed against her in different states to be moved to Delhi. That was the petition that she has filed asking intervention from the Supreme Court, saying that she's facing threat to life, and that's why she wants it all moved to a Delhi station. Supreme Court has now dismissed Nupur Sharma's plea, asking her to approach the High Court first, saying that you can't pass and skip that process of reaching out to the lower courts before reaching the High Court. Nupur Sharma's remarks against Prophet Muhammad has also faced condemnation from many Arab countries. The Supreme Court is also observing that while many others have been arrested for the comments made, Nupur Sharma so far has not faced arrest. Nalini Sharma joining us more on that. Nalini, over to you on the setback that Nupur Sharma has got. It's not just the Supreme Court refusing to intervene. It's also the Supreme Court now setting the tone on how this case will be dealt with. And that's what we see here. The Supreme Court, while hearing the matter, has said very clearly that Nupur Sharma is responsible for the environment in the country single-handedly. Also, almost indicating that what happened in Udaipur, the murder, is because of the comments that she has made, again raising questions on why she has not been arrested so far. So these are statements that she may not have expected coming from the Supreme Court. While she just approached the court for a limited plea, it seems like a bigger elephant now to be dealt with.
Nabila, the Supreme Court has not just indicated that Nupur Sharma is responsible for what happened in Udaipur, but said so in so many words, where Justice J.B. Pardiwala, who was part of the bench, has stated before this, during the hearing that Nupur Sharma is responsible. The comments made by her are responsible for the unfortunate killing that happened in Udaipur. Along with
Nali, if I could ask you to stay on hold with me right here, I'm going to quickly cut across to Abha Singh, who's a lawyer joining us on the phone line. Abha, over to you on the Supreme Court cracking a whip on Nupur Sharma. She went to court asking for some kind of relief and intervention to club all the FIRs to one state in Delhi. But it appears that a lot more was said, which she never expected. Supreme Court here has said she's single-handedly responsible for the environment that we see around the country today, also referring to what has happened in Udaipur.
I am glad that Supreme Court has taken cognizance of that, because Udaipur is a fallout of the statement made by Nupur Sharma, and if it is coming from the apex court, it will definitely have an impact not only on the country but also world over where there have been protests. Now, coming to the clubbing of FIRs from all states is absolutely a bizarre demand, because everywhere it would be a specific criminal issue. And how can you club at least thousands and hundreds of FIRs? I think the very fact she came forward and asked for this relief itself was brazen. But nonetheless, Supreme Court telling her that it is not possible is a very welcome relief, because somehow people were thinking that the Supreme Court is looking the other way. Supreme Court is not coming with justice. But when Justice Pardiwala says that tries to pull up Nupur Sharma, I think it's a very positive direction, because India talks of the preamble talks of a secular nature. Then we have Article 14, which says equality before law and equal protection of laws. So, but also at the same time it says you are innocent till proven guilty. So let the law of the land take its course, and truth should come out.
Well, yeah, the Supreme Court also further observing that there has been no arrest on Nupur Sharma so far. There hasn't been a direction from the Supreme Court. Like we know, the Supreme Court would not give a direction to arrest her, but has observed very clearly that there are many others who've been arrested. Nupur Sharma still does not face arrest.
Exactly, because you have Zubair, that alt news editor, who's been arrested for making for under charges of 153 and 295, that disrupting harmony among communities. So I think the court is right when it says no action has been taken on Nupur Sharma. So, as I said, equality before law and equal protection of laws is the crux of the Indian Constitution, and it is the moral duty, because there is something called constitutional morality. So, if the Supreme Court is talking about it, I am glad and I am happy that somebody is realizing that there's above everything is constitutional morality, which needs to be upheld.
You know, Abha, at this point, what the Supreme Court has also said very clearly is that that this reeks of arrogance. The fact that she reached the apex court, did not reach out to the lower courts first, that reeks of arrogance. also saying that as a responsible BJP spokesperson, she should have observed caution while she was speaking. With anger, we hear that the Supreme Court has made these observations, quite much with anger and very keenly observing these developments all along. It seems like the Supreme Court got a chance today through this petition that she has filed in court to unleash what they had in mind for a while. This has been raging on for a couple of weeks now. Finally, this is the first time that the Supreme Court taking up the matter thanks to her petition.
Exactly, because India's reputation has been damaged world over, because we are very proud of our democracy, we are very proud of our secular constitution, and I think when Supreme Court is setting the mandate, if it is drawing the attention, the government must follow it. The police of this country should not be biased. They are supposed to uphold the law of the land, and what is important is absolutely, because the manner in which, even where the Shiv Sena dissenters ran to the Supreme Court, or for that matter, Paramveer Singh ran to the Supreme Court, it's putting up a wrong precedent that without going to the lower courts, without looking into alternate remedies, you're just running to the Supreme Court. It is not a good practice, and I'm happy the Supreme Court has said, kindly go back to your state, go back to your local court, because end of the day, the hierarchy needs to be maintained.
All right. Now, to see what the Supreme Court has said and such harsh words that the Supreme Court has used while almost cracking a whip on her, do you feel that this has set the tone for the police and respective state governments to pursue this case against her?
Absolutely. Supreme Court wants that the law of the land should be upheld, and when you are arresting so many people under 295A and under 153 that for spreading hatred, for disrupting harmony, then her statement of course has disrupted harmony. It has led to the killing of Kanhaiya Lal in Udaipur, because it has enraged the feelings of other communities. So when you are the official spokesperson of a party, you are responsible to the party, and you're bringing a bad name to the BJP, because let me tell you, the Prime Minister had to come and speak of Abbas and said that he had a Muslim person living in his house. The Prime Minister had to come and say that we have good relations with Muslims. But Nupur Sharma's one statement has destroyed that it has fragmented the society.
Right. At this point, Abha, a quick word on Nupur Sharma's next step of action. She's got to reach out to the lower courts in all these states where FIRs have been filed against her. It's an uphill task in that case, a long legal battle for her.
Absolutely, she'll have to go everywhere, because you have seen how different state police have come and arrested someone from other states, other districts. So she will have to go to all these places. When you can have Rahul Gandhi coming to Kalyan in a defamation matter, when you can have so many politicians going all over India to defend themselves. So wherever the FIR is registered, you need to act. In fact, for Sushant Singh case, we all saw how Bihar police came to Mumbai to investigate. So it's become a trend now that different state polices are just coming in. So Supreme Court needs to really ensure that the CRPC guidelines, whatever the CRPC says, is followed, and the policemen do not succumb to the political pressure.
Here, Abha, Nupur Sharma so far has said that she has withdrawn her statement. Does that amount to an apology? Do you believe that this is could that be conceived as apology here? Because Supreme Court asking that Nupur Sharma...
Of course.
Supreme Court saying Nupur Sharma should apologize to the nation, but Nupur has already withdrawn her statement publicly.
Yeah, when she has apologized, she should be forgiven. We should show that how benevolent and large-hearted we are. But the law of the land will take its course. But I would request that all the communities that are enraged, should look into it, that she has withdrawn her statement. She is apologizing. We should forgive her. And all these statements that they will attack her, kill her, that's also very wrong. Action should be taken on all those people who are passing such statements, because end of the day, to forgive is divine.
Absolutely. Undoubtedly, that if she's apologized, then she must be forgiven. Then in that case, many of the other comments made by several other people, popular on social media, who have now been arrested, do you think their apology will be taken and let off on bail?
See, that way, as I said, there are two parallel things. One is the law of the land, because that is what the police has registered in FIR, and there is a procedure. Once you've registered an FIR, you cannot close it without doing the proper investigation. So that needs to be done, and after that only those FIRs can be closed. But yes, the communities, the leaders of different communities, they should not pass brazen statements that, and she should be allowed to come out and breathe like a normal citizen, because if she is apologizing, she has a right. But killing her is going to a step forward. You are trying to threaten her, taking somebody's life. I think that is very wrong. So all the community leaders must come forward.
Which is why it comes as a big surprise when the Supreme Court blames Nupur Sharma for the beheading in Udaipur. This is such a grave crime. People have taken law into their own hands, but somehow the Supreme Court saying that Nupur Sharma is responsible for what has happened in Udaipur, the beheading in Udaipur, that comes as a surprise.
So many riots have taken place because people have made such statements and they've been arrested. So that is why you have these sections in the IPC, hurting religious sentiments. And end of the day, your rights finish where you try to impinge on the right of some other person. So we, living in a society, we need to respect each other. We need to respect religious sentiments. We need to maintain restraint. So Supreme Court, if it is coming down heavily, it is not only for Nupur Sharma, it is for all the persons who are trying to enrage religious sentiments and destroy the peace and security of the country.
You know, at this point, you know, Abha, of course, asking you a question apart from the law here, there's a lot of criticism that when people poke fun of Hindu gods, there's really no one to stand up for them. Nobody speaks up for them. No Gulf country comes asking for intervention or showing outrage. Considering that this was this comment was made on Prophet Muhammad, and because the Gulf countries intervened with their outrage that they showed, boycotting Indian products, almost sidelining Indians in Gulf countries. That's why we see a strict legal intervention here. What happens to many of those people who have constantly poked fun at Hindu gods and have not been taken to task?
It's not about Hindu-Muslim. In the first place, why should you hurt somebody's religious sentiments? Why should you talk about God? They are there to pray. That's a personal sentiment. So why should you hurt anybody's sentiment is my issue. When there is a law of the land, then why are you breaking the law?
So the same measure must be applied on both ends.
See, both ends is for the courts. It is for the courts to adjudicate, not for you and me. But our duty is to ensure that we don't flare sentiments. We don't say something which leads to riots and innocent lives are lost. That as a fundamental duty of every citizen of this country, that you ensure that you do not hurt the religious sentiments, because that's a law. You're violating a law. And above all, live in peace, live in safety. Why do you want to humiliate and insult anyone just for a few likes or some Twitter followers? I think I would say that is not what we have been brought up with. Our values, we have always been taught to be respectful. We have been taught to be civilized. So why are we not doing that? Why are we only trying to hurt each other's sentiments? Hindus and Muslims have lived peacefully in this country. I come from Lucknow. We are proud of our Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb. Let everybody know that everybody is here to live peacefully, nothing else.
A quick final word. How about the Supreme Court observing that she has not been arrested while many others have? Does that mean a direction again to the respective state police where FIRs have been filed against her? Is the Supreme Court trying to say that she must be arrested?
It is not saying that. That is a different matter. But the very fact that the Supreme Court has expressed its unhappiness, if Justice Pardiwala has come forward and said, then the local police must take cognizance, because end of the day, there is something called contempt of court. You have arrested Teesta Siklawaz on just the observations of the Supreme Court. So likewise, action should be taken after reading the judgment. I have not read the judgment. I am hearing the words from you. But it's a welcome sign that the Supreme Court is monitoring things, what is happening in the country.
All right. Abha, thank you very much for joining us. Abha Singh, lawyer, to give us an understanding on what the Supreme Court may have meant while coming down heavy on Nupur Sharma. A quick word from Anisha Mathur as well, who's tracking the court. Anisha, clearly here, Nupur Sharma has received massive setback. Not just she did not get relief from the Supreme Court, but also Supreme Court now setting the tone on how this case must be pursued. A long legal battle for her, like you just said. She's got to be appearing in multiple states now, reaching out to multiple high courts to try and get relief on the same.
Well, yes, Nabila, it is going to be a long battle for Nupur Sharma, but the Supreme Court's comments and very, very pointed comments that the court has made should act as a wake-up call for Nupur Sharma, for her party, for other political parties, and even for the news channels, because the court has said that if that this kind of provocative statements was deliberately made, the court has said that her statement is directly responsible for the atmosphere in the country. Her statement is directly responsible for provoking what happened in Udaipur. These are not throwaway remarks, Nabila. These are very, very pointed statements from the Supreme Court, which is expressing its extreme shock and dissatisfaction at the way politicians, political leaders, spokespersons are speaking, the kind of remarks that they're making. Because the court has said very clearly that just because you're the national spokesperson of a political party does not give you the license to say anything that you want. You have to be responsible.
All right, I'm cutting across to Nupur Sharma speaking live. Nupur Sharma there, who is a suspended BJP spokesperson there at the BJP office. She's just about addressing the media. That's what we're hoping. We're going to try and bring back that statement that she made just now, soon after the Supreme Court came down heavy on Nupur Sharma. Remember, Nupur has been claiming that she's been receiving multiple threats to life. That's Nupur Sharma, who's right now at the BJP office, all set to make a statement, possibly soon after the Supreme Court's intervention coming down heavy on this case. Nupur Sharma, as per the Supreme Court, owes an apology to the nation. Supreme Court almost saying that she is single-handedly, not almost, in fact, spelt it out in as many words, saying Nupur Sharma is single-handedly responsible for the vicious environment in the country today. That's the words of the Supreme Court. Let me cut across to Anisha. Anisha, Nupur Sharma there wanting to make a statement. Of course, this must have come as a massive surprise. Renuka Chaudhary, Congress leader, joining us on the phone line. Renuka, Supreme Court observing that Nupur Sharma must apologize. She owes an apology to the nation. She could be single-handedly responsible for the vicious environment in the country today. Renuka, if you can hear me.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, please go on.
I'm just amazed that it is Nupur Sharma, a woman who's been made a scapegoat. Why isn't the entire BJP apologizing? Entire BJP has to apologize for the hate speeches that they've given, divided the country, mowed down farmers, and then they have the cheek to blame somebody else. What Nupur Sharma did is unforgivable. Nobody says no. But for the BJP to escape their own responsibility is a bit amazing and amusing. If the BJP has any spine, stand up and apologize. Stand up and apologize.
No, but Nupur Sharma has more or less apologized. She says she's withdrawn her statement in public. That she's very clearly said she's withdrawn her statement. And if this has come across, if this has hurt religious sentiments, then she did not intend to do so. That's what she said. But does that not amount to an apology? Supreme Court says she owes an apology at this point. But in a way, she has.
Tell Supreme Court to also take cognizance of all the entire BJP, which has spread hatred and divided the country and beaten up the Dalits and misbehaved with the minorities and made such awful hate speeches and mowed down the farmers, where the BJP minister's son has mowed down the farmers. And all of this is also now part of history of India. So how about Supreme Court? With great respect, I'm appealing to them, kindly take cognizance and make the entire BJP apologize to the petition as well.
Here, Ms. Renuka Chandia, being specific to Nupur Sharma's case, the Supreme Court very clearly saying that you have no right to show high-handedness just because you are a BJP spokesperson. What does that really speak of? Those are really harsh and strong words coming from the apex court.
Yes, but I'm amazed at the Supreme Court not taking cognizance of the others who have done this also. There's been a fanning of hatred in this country for the past so many years. Ministers in positions of power have actually made statements, and ministers' children have gone and taken vehicles and mowed down farmers. Why are those lives less relevant in India today? That is what I'm asking. It's fine.
Those cases are being dealt with as per law. Ms. Renuka, those cases are being dealt with as per law, but at this point, what the Supreme Court has observed that Nupur Sharma has not been arrested, while there are multiple other people following her statement who made provocative statements. They're right now behind bars, but Nupur Sharma still remains free. Supreme Court very clearly observing that she's not yet been arrested. Again, what's your take on that? Does that give set a tone at this point for state governments right now to act as per the Supreme Court's message here?
I think that is what you need to ask if Mr. Amit Shah has taken cognizance of what the Supreme Court has said. He is the Home Minister, and if he is unable to arrest Nupur Sharma, then we all have reason for concern that how safe are our lives.
No, well, that way you were also in power in Maharashtra until a day ago. There was multiple FIRs filed in Maharashtra as well, but there was no call for arrest from the Maharashtra police.
You know, Maharashtra is actually a mirror to the nation to realize that horse trading, ED misuse, all these pressure tactics have dropped the government, and it is totally acceptable to us. Constitutionally abusive, but it's fine because you see we formed the government there. And that poor Fadnavis, may I please give him my heartfelt condolence. He was the only one who didn't know what's happening with him.
Ma'am, coming back to the point here, what I mean to say is that over the last 2 months, FIRs have been filed. No initiation by the Maharashtra police to arrest Nupur Sharma. They've summoned her, but no arrests have been made so far. That way, even for that matter, Telangana.
Yeah, so you don't think it's an act of convenience? I mean, these are questions you need to ask the government.
Convenience on the part of who?
Of the concerned government.
Yeah, you were also in power in Maharashtra. That's precisely what I'm asking. Why did you not show aggressive crackdown?
We are citizens. We have been waiting for action and reaction, and we are looking at it. And so now the Supreme Court is now going to run the law and order situation of this country. And we are abdicating our own accountability and responsibility as assemblies and parliament. You see the more and more of judiciary working today and telling us what to do. So it shows that there is a flawed system in place and there's a failure of interpretation of what we are as a country and what parliament needs to do and assemblies need to do.
Yeah. So are you now, based on what the Supreme Court has said, will press for her arrest?
I am not saying just arrest her. I'm saying please get everyone who has done hate speeches in the country, once and for all, do it. So that the message goes out strong. Don't use a woman only. Don't just fix a woman and say, oh, we fixed her and it's Nupur Sharma per se who's responsible. And the whole country, Nupur Sharma was the final flashpoint. But there have been hatred speeches and divisive politics and Dalits who have been abused and farmers who have been mowed down by ministers in position and power. And they have not been removed from that position and power.
Right. Thank you very much.
There is a whole system which is flawed, which is in position in India today.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ms. Renuka. A quick word from Anisha on that. Anisha, we're obviously hearing opposition leaders saying that this is not enough, the case needs to be pursued, etc. But that will echo now post the Supreme Court and its observations. But for now, how do you think this case will pan out? Because when we saw in the case of Teesta Se Talwar, the police there in Gujarat were quick to arrest her based on what the Supreme Court had observed, saying that there was a lot of push by some unscrupulous elements to keep the pot burning. At this point here, the Supreme Court also observing that Nupur Sharma has not been arrested. Will that be same measure? Will the police act with same measure? At this point, will they arrest Nupur Sharma? Is that a likelihood?
Well, Navina, if you look at the kind of FIRs that have been filed across the country, if you look at just Delhi, Nupur Sharma is not just facing a FIR on a complaint by some third person. She's also been named in a specific FIR by the special team of the Delhi police, which is looking into hate speech across the country. They've named 30 or more than 30 people in a specific FIR for hate speech. If you look, apart from that, there are other FIRs filed by individual persons against Nupur Sharma in Delhi alone. Other than that, there are FIRs in Rajasthan, in Maharashtra, in Telangana, in several other states. where these same issues have come up. And that is what has prompted the Supreme Court to question that why is it that you are not taking any action against Nupur Sharma? Why is it that that such irresponsible statements are being made? Now the question really is that, remember, the court has not passed any directions for anybody's arrest. The court has raised this very important question that it is now for the police establishments of Delhi, of other states, of Maharashtra, Delhi, Telangana, other states to question why is it that when they have initiated an FIR, why have they not initiated the process to arrest?
Right.
Remember,
right. We got your point. A quick word coming in from Pramod Tiwari, who's a Congress MLA. Anisha, do stay with us. Mr. Tiwari, we're looking at the Supreme Court really coming down heavy on Nupur. Not just have they dismissed her plea to club all the FIRs in Delhi, but also have raised several questions on her intent, her high-handedness and irresponsibility of making such a statement that sparked outrage across India, blaming her to be single-handedly responsible for the vicious environment in the country.
बहुत महत्वपूर्ण ऑब्जर्वेशन किया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने। उनके सामने सारे फैक्ट्स, फाइंडिंग्स, सारे फैक्ट्स को देखने के बाद उन्होंने कहा है कि आज उदयपुर या पूरे देश में जो घटनाएं हो रही हैं उसके लिए नुपुर शर्मा का ये बयान जिम्मेदार है। उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि अभी तक इनके खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हुई नुपुर शर्मा जी के खिलाफ। तो ये सीधा सीधा आरोप है गृह मंत्रालय भारत सरकार पे, क्योंकि दिल्ली उन्हीं के अधीन है कानून व्यवस्था। तो एक तरह से देखा जाए तो ये श्री अमित शाह जी गृह मंत्री के रूप में उन पर भी उन्होंने सख्त टिप्पणी की है कारण कामकाज पर। तो मैं सिर्फ कहता हूँ ये कि जैसा कहा है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, नुपुर शर्मा को सारे रास्ते टेलीविजन पे माफी मांगनी चाहिए, और उसके अलावा जिन्होंने उनको भाजपा का प्रवक्ता बनाया था, क्योंकि भाजपा का मंच था, भाजपा की अधिकृत प्रवक्ता थी, और आज तक उनके खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हुई है, और उन्हीं की वजह से उदयपुर जैसी घटनाएं हुई हैं, तो माफी तो मांगनी चाहिए। सर्वोच्च नेतृत्व जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का है टेलीविजन पे जाएं और हाथ जोड़कर माफी मांगे कि हमने अपनी महंगाई, बेरोजगारी जैसी असफलताओं को छुपाने के लिए ऐसा बयान दिलवाया था।
जी, ये जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि इनको माफी मांगना चाहिए, इन्होंने माफी मांग चुकी है, बोला है कि ये स्टेटमेंट विड्रॉ कर रही है और जिनको भी कोई भी दुख हुआ है वो उस पे उनका वो इरादा नहीं था। ये माफी नहीं है तो क्या है?
मैं बहुत स्पष्ट कर दूं, इन्होंने ट्वीट किया है, चैनल्स पे नहीं गई। उन्होंने क्या है, सारे राष्ट्र को संबोधित करते हुए ये माफी मांगी, टेलीविजन पे जाके माफी मांगे। बड़ा फर्क है कि किसी को कोट कर देना और आपके चैनल पे, आप जैसे सारे महत्वपूर्ण चैनलों पे आके वो सारे रास्ते माफी मांगे। ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने इनका वो माफीनामा भी था, सारे फैक्ट थे, और उनका नो। आप जाइए टेलीविजन पे, सारे रास्ते माफी मांगिए। और सबसे बड़ी बात जो उन्होंने कहा, उदयपुर जैसी घटनाएं इन्हीं बयानों की वजह से हुई है। तीसरी बात, तो नहीं कार्रवाई हुई दिल्ली में इनके खिलाफ अभी तक, वो सीधा सीधा आक्षेप है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सर्वोच्च नेतृत्व पर, भाजपा की सरकार पर। पहले संगठन और सरकार दोनों को दोषी पाया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने।
जी, प्रमोद तिवारी जी, इनको क्या अब अरेस्ट करना चाहिए? सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये अब ऑब्जर्व किया है कि अभी तक नुपुर शर्मा का अरेस्ट हुआ नहीं है। ये डायरेक्शन क्या कहलाता है?
देखिए, मैंने सर्वोच्च न्यायालय का उतना ही सुना है जितना आपने बताया है या जितना चैनल्स पे आ रहा है। जजमेंट आ गया होगा, जजमेंट देखकर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्देशों के अनुसार कार्रवाई सुनिश्चित कराई जाए। पर इतना तो लग रहा है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपनी नाराजगी भाजपा सरकार के खिलाफ व्यक्त की है कि अभी तक कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं हुई।
जी, Tiwari ji, thank you very much. Pramod Tiwari there, MP of the Congress party, saying that this must be pursued legally. A case must be taken up. Of course, it must be investigated in depth. Anisha was tracking that. Anisha, the Supreme Court, while it dismisses the plea filed by Nupur Sharma, do you believe that at this point Nupur Sharma will have to take off immediately to those respective states and deal with those FIRs with urgent effect? Because several summons she's not adhered to. She's asked for 4 weeks. When it comes to Maharashtra, she said she needs 4 weeks time, citing threat to her life, etc. None of that was taken cognizance by the Supreme Court. They ignored all of that, saying that you first go to the High Court, despite she claiming that she has serious threat to life. And one can't ignore her claims and appeals too, because what we saw in Udaipur is chilling.
Well, Gambhira, at this moment, Nupur Sharma does not have a choice. She will have to approach the magistrate courts which have issued summons, to her to appear for questioning. She will have to go and join the questioning. She will have to, if she wants to stall that questioning, then go to the High Court against that summons issued to her by the police to join that questioning. In this particular case, if you look at it, she has said that I have been summoned to join investigation, but I should not be called to multiple states because there is a threat to my life. And that is why all of these FIRs should be clubbed and heard in Delhi. So because Delhi police has given me protection, so I can go to the court, I can go to the police in Delhi and face the consequences of these FIRs. The Supreme Court has very categorically said no to such protection. The Supreme Court has very categorically said that you should have gone to the High Court, you should have appeared before the magistrate court, and the fact that you have not done so and you've come here directly reeks of arrogance. And this is a direct quote from the Supreme Court,
right,
that what you're doing is reeks of arrogance, that instead of going by the approaching the lower court, you're coming directly here.
Right, Anisha, stay with us. A quick listen from Sai Deepak, who's a Supreme Court advocate, joining us on the phone line on that. Mr. Deepak, what do you think was the intention of Nupur Sharma to approach the Supreme Court and not take up the matter with the respective high courts in different states? We know this is going to be excruciating for her. She may have thought of security threat, basically the threat to life against her must have been her primary contention to reach out to the apex court. But we're very surprised that the Supreme Court never paid heed to any of those threats to her life. Instead, pulled her up heavily, calling her solely responsible for the environment in the country today. How do you see this?
As a practitioner, I genuinely believe that this particular order and the observations made by the court in this particular case are really disappointing and depressing for multiple reasons. Nupur Sharma's prayer before the Supreme Court asking for transfer of all the cases to one jurisdiction is not out of the ordinary. In fact, it is par for course. Such petitions are filed on a daily basis when a particular individual is harassed legally through multiple cases across the country. So what she has done, legally speaking, based on several precedents of the Supreme Court itself, is not something that smacks or reeks of arrogance. She has exercised her legal rights to approach the court. This is exactly why the provision for transfer exists in the law. That's point number one. Point number two, by making these observations, even before a trial court has had an opportunity to apply its mind to the case against Nupur, I'm sorry to say these observations have prejudiced her chances before a trial court or even before a high court if she wants to move for quash of these allegations and these charges. Three, this unfortunately amounts to victim shaming, because to hold that she is responsible for the murderous cause and actual murders across the country by those who claim to be offended by her speech and the statement that she made, I'm sorry to say, has the textbook effect of chilling free speech in this country, which the watchdog of the Constitution, namely the Supreme Court, ought not to have done, according to me, with a lot of respect. That's all I have to say.
Right. You know, Deepak, at this point, the Supreme Court has also said she needs to apologize. She owes an apology to the country today, and also asked on what kind of arrogance is she really showing to come to the apex court first and not seeking some kind of intervention from the High Court. Where does this leave Nupur Sharma at this point? Again, you rightly said that this has already set the tone. A quick word from you on where does this leave Nupur Sharma with the kind of legal options that she has left now?
In all humility, it was not for the court to extract an apology from Nupur Sharma or to say that she must apologize. This is not for any court in this country to do under any provision of the Constitution. So that observation itself, according to me, is beyond the pale of the Constitution. Second, all that she can do at this stage is either seek a review or go back to a high court or different high courts asking for quashing of these petitions, or at least to say that some of these petitions must either be transferred or they must go to a single jurisdiction. She has to now go back to the High Court to make these prayers, or she can try her shot by way of a review before the Supreme Court. But the review typically goes back before the same bench, and if it is the very same bench, I doubt she will succeed.
All right, and a quick word and a final word on the arrest that the Supreme Court has asked. Well, the other people who have made subsequent comments post Nupur Sharma's remark. Nupur Sharma has so far not been arrested, but they have been. What does this again direct?
Nupur Sharma's statement is with respect to a particular position on a belief system. The subsequent statements call for murders, call for beheadings. So there is no sense of proportion when we try and equate both. Please understand that. It's almost as good or as bad as saying that something that is said in writing is the same as asking for someone's head to be chopped off. This is a false comparison. This equivalence cannot exist. Nupur Sharma's statement did not endanger anybody's life, whereas the calls and the reactions thereafter have endangered public property, public life, public safety, as well as individual safety. Where is the comparison here?
When you speak of arrests on the heels of Zubair, who is the alt news founder, he's been arrested on remarks that he's made years ago. Could that be equal to what Nupur Sharma has done? Is that as heinous and serious?
As far as I am concerned, Nupur Sharma's statement was made not off the cuff. She responded to a specific comment. Therefore, her statement must be understood in the backdrop of the discussion that was taking place in that particular program. Zubair's statements were standalone tweets which he has been making over the years, which for all practical purposes amounts to constant targeting of a particular community without any provocation. That is the distinction. Nupur Sharma did not make any statement until a statement was made, and that too a derogatory statement was made against the Shivalingam at Gyanvapi. That is the context in which the statement needs to be placed. Unfortunately, neither the Supreme Court did that, nor are we doing it.
Right. Mr. Sai Deepak, thank you very much. Appreciate your time and joining us on that. Let me quickly cut across to CPM leader Hanand Mullah joining us. Mr. Mullah, here is Supreme Court that's coming down heavy on Nupur Sharma at this point. They've already set the tone, it looks like, on the way respective state governments must take this case forward. She will now be left to deal with her legal battles at respective state governments, respective high courts in local states. How do you see this with the Supreme Court for the first time explicitly wording out what they think of what Nupur Sharma has done?
This is a very positive and encouraging judgment, because from the day one we are insisting a person, a culprit whose utterances created national disaster, law and order problem, movement, burning of property, loss of property, hatred among communities. So many disturbing incidents happen because of this blasphemous statement of person. But that person is still moving freely. It is unfortunate the government is protecting him. BJP is protecting her. This is a culprit. When some culprit spread venom and want entire society become poisonous, immediately that should be stopped, checked, and punished according to law. But the government failed to take any action, protecting her from being arrested or from being any other action. Then Supreme Court has given correct direction. I think that should be obeyed by different state governments and high courts so that culprit can be punished.
No, when you say punished, at this point, we see that there are many people, for that matter, who make derogatory comments against various religions, even for that matter, Hindu gods. So many comments that come up from people that never are pulled up. So targeting Nupur Sharma at this point, of course, apart from what the Supreme Court has said, how would you look at this case objectively? There are people who make comments on a regular basis on social media and otherwise. Do you think that Nupur Sharma, only because she held the responsibility of being the BJP spokesperson, is now being pulled up?
I tell you, unfortunately, there are hundreds of comments and derogatory comments against Mahatma Gandhiji and praise with his killers. But nobody is taking note of that. This will deteriorate the culture of our country.
So this is almost an example set with the Supreme Court taking this matter so strictly and making such strong observations. Do you think Supreme Court is setting the tone at this point against anyone who wants to make speech, who wants to speak on these lines, defamatory, derogatory comments being made against someone's religion, etc.? This is almost cracking a whip and saying it's not acceptable.
Yes, I think it will work a deterrence to the people when utters any statement. He will be make it responsible. We have every right to criticize everybody, but not to derogate, not to defame. So this guideline, I think, will have an effect on the people, public statement, and be careful that our cultural ethos or honor of the person, and community and religion, everything are not hurt.
Right. You know, Mr. Molla, the kind of threats that are coming her way, you know, even at this point, we saw what happened in Udaipur, and that leaves us shell-shocked. People taking law into their own hands. Nupur Sharma very rightly says that she's receiving threats to her life, and one can't help but believe her, because the man who supported Nupur Sharma, a mere support message that he put on his social media platform, resulted in his fatal end. He was murdered brutally by two Muslim men. And this kind of anger that prevails among certain communities, how do you look at that? Do you, of course, condemn it? I'm sure you do. But how would you look at that? How should that be dealt with? Can you really blame Nupur Sharma entirely for that? For someone murdering someone?
That should be very strongly by the law and order keeping machinery. That is necessary. Those type of action, killing, nobody has to kill anybody for any type of any crime. It should be punished strictly. Like that is from the day one we are saying that anybody who takes the order in their hand and commit such mistakes must be sternly dealt with and they will be punished according to law. But according to law, the criminal who created this problem for the country, that also should not be ignored.
All right. Mr. Mullah, you know, we know that the people across the country right now are debating on whether or not Nupur Sharma made a comment that was already written in the text, in the books. And if at all it is already written, and if it is established, what she said may be true or may be false, do you think, how would you counter that? You know, people saying that she may have just quoted what was already there. What's wrong in that?
What wrong? You consider you person with a understanding of the culture or history or constitutional or right of the persons or the opinion, you know about the blasphemy. On the basis of that, you consider asking me why you are not people ask why Zubair is booked because of crime of others. Only he mentioned that such crime was committed. Why is the journalist under bar and he is suffering all this repression and the criminal outside is moving freely?
No, according to you, she has committed blasphemy. That's what you say strongly.
Definitely.
All right. Mr. Hanan Mullah, thank you very much. Appreciate your time on this. Of course, Nupur Sharma has received massive setback at this point, with the Supreme Court now very clearly saying they will not intervene. It's now for Nupur Sharma to reach out to various high courts in those states where FIRs have been filed against her. So far, she faces no arrest. And that's again what's something that the Supreme Court has observed, saying that there are many people who she filed a complaint against who have been arrested, but Nupur Sharma herself remains free even till date. Also, further making some strong observations here and saying that Nupur Sharma is solely responsible for the vicious environment that we see in the country, almost indicating that what happened in Udaipur is also the fault of Nupur Sharma. Really, really strong words of the Supreme Court coming in the way of Nupur Sharma when she reached out to Supreme Court for intervention on clubbing all the FIRs to be moved to Delhi so that she could deal with it in one state instead of moving about from one state to the other where FIRs have been filed against her. Remember, we're looking at multiple states, be it Maharashtra, Delhi, Rajasthan, Telangana, multiple states where FIRs have been filed against her. She claims that she has received threat to life and therefore cannot travel so freely to all these states to face those FIRs and face those cases. So she may have to now, with no other choice left, reach out to high courts of those states where FIRs have been filed against her. And that would mean more than 4 states that she will now have to hop to try and get some relief. It is a long fought battle for Nupur Sharma at this point. She already claims that she has threat to life, and doesn't seem like the Supreme Court has really taken that into cognizance and has further slammed her for being irresponsible and making comments of such nature that has really resulted in outrage across the country. A quick take on what are those real points that the Supreme Court has made while observing this case. In fact, Nupur Sharma reached out to the Supreme Court only to find intervention and relief to club all her cases, all the FIRs against her from multiple states to one state, Delhi. Instead, what the court has said, that for what you've said, it's created such outrage in the country, you must apologize. Further, the Supreme Court almost indicating that what has happened in Udaipur, the beheading in Udaipur of an innocent Kanhaiya Lal who only supported Nupur Sharma, that's all because of what Nupur Sharma said. Had she not made that statement, we wouldn't have seen this environment in the country. And right now, from what we hear of all the arguments, or rather the observations that the Supreme Court has made, they say that the unrest in the country entirely is because of Nupur Sharma's remark that she's made. That's what the court has said, further saying that it's not about threat to her life. In fact, Nupur Sharma could be a security threat to the nation. That's exactly what the Supreme Court has observed. Remember, Nupur Sharma reached out to Supreme Court only to say that she has threat to life, but the Supreme Court instead questioning her, are you a security threat to the country for the comments that you've made? Citing that the remarks that was made against Prophet Muhammad were absolutely provocative, and that could be the reason why this environment in the country. Well, the petition smacks of her arrogance. That's also something that the Supreme Court has observed, while saying that she could have easily gone to the High Court first before reaching out to the Apex Court. What was the reason for her to reach out to the Apex Court? Therefore, they will not intervene. They will not give her relief at this point. Of course, as we know, Supreme Court very clearly saying that she must apologize, and she should have apologized already. This could be even too late at this point for her to come back to apologize, that she should have apologized on TV. And finally, also the Supreme Court very clearly observing, while others have been arrested, Nupur Sharma so far has not been arrested. This is the Supreme Court setting the tone clearly on Nupur Sharma's case. Even as she reached out only for relief to club the FIRs, it seems that the Supreme Court came down heavy on her, opening up a can of worms on multiple angles of this case, citing that what Nupur Sharma said, she should have been responsible as a BJP spokesperson on national television, but she has refrained from taking that responsibility and has not observed any caution before making such comments that were provocative. All right, I'm going to cut across to a short break. We'll be right back on the developments on this case. Stay with us.
With every sunrise comes new beginnings, new opportunities and new stories. And that's why we're first up. While you're sleeping, we're hard at work to ensure you get the perfect news shot every morning. Get you all the updates. Our morning mission, to get you news that's fresh and packed with flavor. Watch First Up every weekday morning with me, Akshata Nandagopal, right here on India Today.
You are what?
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
You are
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Oh, sorry.
हमें तो लूट लिया अपनी पार्टी वालों ने, बागी तेवर वालों ने, शिंदे के बवालों ने। हमें तो लूट लिया अपनी पार्टी वालों ने, बागी तेवर वालों ने, शिंदे के बवालों ने। नजर में गुस्ताखी, दिल लगा बगावत में, साजिशें देख कर हम फंस गए मुसीबत में। एक नाथ को लेके एक साथ चले, धोखा ऐसा मिला लुट गए शराफत में। कमल के जाल में जा फंसे हो आफत में, सब ये कहते हैं हम मिट गए सियासत में।
वही वही पे कयामत हो हम जिधर जाए, मुस्कुराते हुए हम कई काम कर जाए। बागी तुम्हारे काम मेरा ऐसा कर जाए, देखते रह जाओ तुम सरकार हम बनाए।
समझ में कुछ नहीं आता कि हम किधर जाए, शेर को पाला था वो बिल्ली जैसे डर जाए म्याऊं। हमें तो लूट लिया अपनी पार्टी वालों ने, बागी तेवर वालों ने, शिंदे के बवालों ने। हमें तो लूट लिया अपनी पार्टी वालों ने, बागी तेवर वालों ने, शिंदे के बवालों ने। हमें तो शिंदे ने लूटा, भाजपा में कहाँ दम था। मेरी कश्ती ही डूबी वहाँ जहाँ पानी कम था।
Presented by Berger Easy Clean. No dog, no dhabba, only beautiful walls. Co-powered by The World Comes Together at Sharda University.
Very good afternoon. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal. A quick update on the Udaipur beheading. Some startling developments coming in on that case. First, the headlines. Supreme Court pulls up former BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma for her Prophet Muhammad remarks. Says she must apologize to the nation. Blames Udaipur beheading on Nupur Sharma. Another setback to Udhav Sena. Supreme Court refuses to hear a plea seeking suspension of 16 rebels urgently. Says we'll hear the matter on July 11th. Shinde trust vote in Maharashtra Assembly on the 4th of July. One symbol, one party and two claimants. The war between Shinde camp and Uddhav Thackeray camp over who is the real Shiv Sena rages on. Shinde all set to claim the party symbol. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut appears before the Enforcement Directorate in the Patra Chawl land scam case. Says that he is not scared. A big blowback of Kanhaiya Lal beheading. Gehlot government removes Udaipur SP and IG. Killers shifted to high security jail in Ajmer. Agencies probing their Pakistan link. And floods wreak havoc in the northeast. Over 30 lakh people affected in Assam alone. Unprecedented downpour. Landslides reported in Arunachal. Even parts of Bihar inundated. All right, here's a mega news break that India Today is tracking on the Udaipur beheading. Sensational details emerging on that case. 2611 link that's now emerged to Udaipur beheading. The killers have used 2611 as their bike number. This is their number plate where it says 2611. What's shocking here is that the accused is said to have paid 5,000 rupees to get hold of this number plate, this 2611 number plate. They've paid 5,000 rupees to get hold of this number plate. The number of the bike is 2611. Basically, 2611 is the number of that bike that was used by these criminals, by these murderers, while they were roaming around the streets of Rajasthan. Incidentally, the number clearly matches with the date of the Mumbai terror attack. For this special number, they've paid 5,000 rupees as a draft in the ITO. Now, investigating agencies probing this angle on what kind of links that they have. Already established that they could have links with some Pakistani radical groups. And all the more, this makes it evidently clear that there's larger conspiracy and backing to these criminals. They've been certainly influenced and may have been in contact very much with radical elements globally. Now, whether this is Pakistan alone or people elsewhere that they are currently constantly in touch with, that will be established post the investigation. But this is a chilling detail that's now emerging, that these sick-minded murderers have paid 5,000 rupees only to get hold of a number plate that has the number 2611, which is 2611. Obviously, one can't help but think that was this a sick mindset to try and get a number plate that spoke of the Mumbai terror attacks, the date, exactly the date the Mumbai terror attacks were carried out. That's the number they wanted on their scooter's number plate. Let me cut across to Arvind Ojha on the spot, bringing us this ground report.
कन्हैया लाल की हत्या करने के बाद आरोपी रियाज और मोहम्मद गौस जिस बाइक से फरार हो रहे थे और उसके बाद उन्हें गिरफ्तार किया गया, वो बाइक, ये आप देख पा रहे हैं एक्सक्लूसिव तस्वीरें। बाइक का नंबर जो है वो अब चौंकाता भी है और एजेंसियों का रडार पर है। देखिए, इस बाइक का नंबर RJ 27 AS 2611। आपको बताऊं, 2611 को ही मुंबई में सिलसिलेवार आतंकी हमला हुआ था जिसने पूरे हिंदुस्तान को हिला दिया था। बाइक के जो आगे है वो लिखा हुआ है फैजाने अतर। अतर बताऊं, दरअसल जो दावते इस्लामी के से जुड़े लोग होते हैं वो अतर टाइटल का इस्तेमाल करते हैं। लेकिन मैं आपको दिखाऊं कि दरअसल जब कन्हैया लाल की हत्या के बाद जो रियाज और मोहम्मद गौस है वो सबसे पहले जाते हैं, सापेटिया इलाका है, वहाँ पर शोएब नाम का एक शख्स है, उसका दफ्तर है, वहाँ से वो वीडियो बनाते हैं कबूलनामे का, हथियार दिखाते हुए उसे वायरल करते हैं, वहीं पर हथियार छुपाते हैं जो हथियार बरामद हुआ है। लेकिन ये जो ब्लैक कलर की जो पैशन प्लस बाइक है, इसी पर सवार होकर सापेटिया से वो फरार होने की कोशिश करते हैं। ऐसा बताया जाता है कि अजमेर जा रहे थे। लेकिन ये जो 2611 नंबर है वो काफ़ी चौंकाता है। सूत्रों के मुताबिक ये जो स्पेशल नंबर है, स्पेशल नंबर को लेने के लिए RTO में बकायदा 5,000 का ड्राफ्ट दिया जाता है। दोनों आरोपियों ने इस बाइक को लेने के लिए 2611 का जो नंबर है ये लेने के लिए बकायदा RTO में स्पेशल ड्राफ्ट दिया था और 5,000 रुपये दिए थे। लेकिन अब ये 2611 जो मुंबई हमले से जुड़ी हुई तारीख है वो ये बताता है, ये दर्शाता है कि आरोपियों की मंशा किस तरह थी, किसने कट्टरपंथी विचारधारा के थे। बाइक फिलहाल सीज करके थाना मंडी में रखी हुई है, लेकिन अब ये बाइक का नंबर भी एजेंसियों की जांच का बड़ा हिस्सा है। कैमरामैन जियाउद्दीन और धीरज के साथ अरविंद ओझा, उदयपुर।
Arvind Ojha there, who's on top of the story when it comes to the investigation initiated by the NIA. Very shocking detail that emerges, and this has striking resemblance to, of course, the date of the Mumbai terror attack, 26/11. One knows that that was the date when the terror attack was carried out. That's exactly the number they wanted on their bike, which they used. These murderers wanted that number plate for their bike, which they used to carry out the crime. In fact, they've paid 5,000 rupees to the RTO in a draft and have gotten hold of this number plate, 2611. One can't imagine, obviously at that point, no one would imagine what are the intentions of these people, who are these people, are they criminals or not. In fact, they've applied for a draft in the ITO, requested a special request that they've made for this number 2611, 2611. Really shows the cynical, sick mindset of these men, these murderers, who are now caught. They're in prison. They're being investigated by the NIA. They've been booked under the UAPA. Several links that have already been established to global agencies, radical agencies. At this point, links also to some Pakistan radical groups as well, even though Pakistan has denied these claims. But the NIA really certainly looking to some deep connections that these murderers have with some radical Islamic groups globally. Arvind Ojha, who's with us. Arvind, sun pa rahe ho aap? Do we have Arvind with us? अरविंद, यहाँ पर जो नंबर प्लेट है वो 2611 का नंबर प्लेट उन्होंने पैसे देकर लिया है, तो ये एस्टैब्लिश क्या होता है इसमें से? क्या आरटीओ से कुछ रिस्पांस आया कि इन्होंने कैसे यही नंबर प्लेट के लिए उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट डाला है और 5,000 दे भी दिया है उनको? इन्वेस्टिगेशन में या इंटेरोगेशन में ये लोग ने कुछ कहा है इस बारे में?
देखिए, मैं आपको बताऊं कि जिस तरीके से रियाज और मोहम्मद गौस ने इस मर्डर को अंजाम दिया है और जिस तरीके से वीडियो बना के वायरल किया है, तो इसे एक लार्जर कॉन्स्पिरेसी मानकर चल रही है उदयपुर एटीएस और एनआईए। और शायद यही वजह है कि अब ये जो नंबर प्लेट है इसको भी अपनी जांच का हिस्सा बनाएगी एजेंसी, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से ये कई ऐसे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप से जुड़े हुए थे जिसमें पाकिस्तान के अलावा और दूसरी कंट्रीज़ के लोग थे और ज़्यादातर कट्टरपंथी विचारधारा के लोग थे। तो ये दरअसल 26/11 मुंबई में जो एक 2008 में एक बड़ा आतंकी हमला हुआ था, उसका स्पेशल नंबर लेना ये दरअसल इनका माइंडसेट भी दिखाता है। तो दरअसल इस बाइक के सहारे इनके माइंडसेट को भी जांचने की कोशिश करेगी एजेंसी। और शायद यही वजह है कि ये जो बाइक है जिससे वो भागने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, स्पेशल बाकायदा नंबर लिया था, ड्राफ्ट दिया था आरटीओ में 5,000 रुपये का, उसके बाद ये नंबर लिया था और इसी नंबर से वो भाग रहे थे। तो ऐसे कई चीज़ें हैं जो इनके पास से रिकवर हुई हैं, चाहे जो वेपन्स है जिसके जरिए इन लोगों ने कन्हैया लाल का मर्डर किया था, 2 वेपन्स से 2 रिकवर हुए थे, वो सभी चीज़ें जांच का हिस्सा है। इसके अलावा जो इनका व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप था वो भी जांच का हिस्सा है। तो ये अपने आप में दिखाता है कि इनका माइंडसेट किस तरीके का था कि 26/11 का नंबर प्लेट ही ले रहे थे। इसके अलावा नबीला, मैं आपको बताऊं, कुछ देर में इसी कोर्ट में दोनों अक्यूज रियाज और मोहम्मद गौस की पेशी होने वाली है, जहां पर एनआईए की टीम फिलहाल मौजूद है। तो अभी दोनों को यहाँ पर पेश किया जाएगा।
We have some big update coming in. Let's take it on our screens here. NIA team now all set to arrive in Udaipur court, likely to seek remand of the accused. That's the big news that we're currently tracking, with the NIA team currently to arrive in Udaipur court, likely to seek remand of the accused. Remember, this comes also amid a time when lawyers in Rajasthan have objected to fighting for the accused, the murderers. They're not willing to take up the case. In fact, the lawyers there, of course, outraged with the gravity and the heinousness of this crime, that no lawyer willing to represent the murderers in court. This comes while the NIA now all set to arrive at the Udaipur court to take custody of these murderers. Arvind Ojha for more on that. Arvind, आप कह रहे थे?
देखिए नबीला, आपसे कुछ एनआईए की टीम जो 4 मेंबर एनआईए की टीम वो यहाँ पर फिलहाल मौजूद है और कुछ देर बाद जो कोर्ट में दोनों अक्यूज्ड हैं उनको पेश किया जाएगा, प्रोड्यूस किया जाएगा। आपको बताऊं, कल भी जब दोनों अक्यूज्ड को पेश किया गया था तो इस कोर्ट के बाहर उदयपुर की भारी भीड़ जमा थी, कोर्ट के अंदर भी भीड़ जमा थी जो मर्डरर है उन पर अटैक करने की कोशिश कर रही थी। इस वजह से फिलहाल कोर्ट के बाहर पुलिसकर्मी तैनात है, अंदर भी भारी फोर्स तैनात है, एनआईए की टीम मौजूद है और कुछ देर बाद दोनों अक्यूज को प्रोड्यूस किया जाएगा जज के सामने और फिर जो एनआईए की टीम है वो प्रोडक्शन वारंट मांगेगी, क्योंकि फिलहाल दोनों अक्यूज जुडिशियल कस्टडी में है, जेल में बंद है, अजमेर की हाई सिक्योरिटी जेल में बंद है, क्योंकि उन दोनों को सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट था ऐसा बताया गया, जिसके बाद उदयपुर जेल से दोनों को अजमेर की जेल में भेजा गया। और अब से कुछ देर बाद चूंकि एनआईए की टीम यहाँ मौजूद है, दोनों अक्यूज्ड रियाज और मोहम्मद गौस को कोर्ट में पेश किया जाएगा, उसके बाद प्रोडक्शन वारंट पर लेगी एनआईए की टीम।
जी, Arvind Ojha जुड़े रहिए. I'm going to quickly cut across to Dev Ankur, who's also tracking those developments. Dev, a quick word as we see that this number plate of that bike where these criminals were using to move around in Rajasthan bears the number 2611. And what's sick is that they've actually applied to the RTO seeking special number plate of this nature, paid 5,000 rupees for that number plate and managed to get it as well. Any word on any suspicion that there may have erupted, earlier on with these men actually reaching out to the RTO asking for the same number plate? It's of course far-fetched to imagine that the RTO officials will raise suspicion, but this is for us a sick update, something that we are not able to digest, that this may have been running on the minds of these killers way before a remark that Nupur Sharma has made.
Well, Nabila, it could perhaps be even a coincidence that the bike, the number that they had the number of 2611, and it also raises the question that if the RTO asked for extra money for this number, why is it that it was being considered as a special number? Besides that, there is a lot of anger against the duo. I'm right now in Khanji Pir area of Udaipur. Nabila, this is the area from where both Mohammad Riaz and Ghaus Mohammad hail from. They were staying over here in Udaipur, and out here I can tell you this entire area, you can see this entire stretch, it's an empty road, it's a big road. Mohammad Riaz used to stay over here, and you cannot spot a single soul apart from a few people who perhaps have gotten out for essential work, or police personnel, or people who are in the business of supplying essential commodities, except that there is no one out here who you can spot. This is if the camera person pans the camera, I will show you clearly. This is the place, Nabila, and this is very important. You should, look at this. This is the place where Mohammad Riaz was staying in Udaipur. You see this notice. This is the notice which was pasted by the anti-terrorist squad of Udaipur. This clearly mentions that both of them, Mohammad Riaz and Ghaus Mohammad, have been placed under arrest. This is the house where Mohammad Riaz was staying. He was staying on the first floor. The camera person can show you the place where Mohammad Riaz was staying in Udaipur. He was here with his family, with his wife and 2 children. So this is the exact location where Mohammad Riaz was staying in Udaipur. Importantly, he came over here on June 13th. Before that, he was staying at another place. He was thrown out by the landlord because he had some altercation with him. Thereafter, he came over here. And the family members were also staying over here. Perhaps he had not told his wife even about his, murderous intentions. The day when the act was committed on June 28, thereafter, the wife went to her parents' place, which is behind this lane. And over there, the entire family, I have spoken with several neighbors out there, they maintain that the entire family has ran away from there. They escaped from there on the very same date that Mohammad Riaz committed that murderous act, and that video went viral. So after the entire family ran away from there, the police came and interrogated the neighbors, asked them about them. In fact, even the landlord, Muhammad Umar, was extensively interrogated, asked about whether he knew about the antecedents of Mohammad Riaz, what were his credentials, why was he given a place to stay over here, whether his tenant verification had happened. So Muhammad Umar, informatively told them that he did not have any inkling about the intentions of Mohammad Riaz or that he was up to such a thing, and that, some of the people say that both of them used to pray a lot. They used to, read namaz 5 times a day. And about Ghaus Mohammad, they say
unfortunately for some in the community, that's all that they want, only to see that the people who they are dealing with are religious. They are praying 5 times namaz. That means they're good people. That's an unfortunate state of affairs. It's a Muslim locality. Is it a Muslim neighborhood? And like you rightly said, was there any police verification done of those tenants by those owners? And what were these men really up to before this? In the sense, were they doing a job? Were they appointed, employed somewhere? What is their background before coming to this house? And also, are they locals of Rajasthan? Again, something that we've not got clarity on as yet.
So, Nabila, I will answer each and every question of yours because some of these are really important questions. Mohammad Riaz hails from Rajasthan, but he was staying in Bhilwara. So, he arrived in Udaipur around 22 years ago. Since then, he was staying in different localities. Since the beginning, he had been on rent. Whereas Ghaus Mohammad is concerned, he's a local from Udaipur. He had been staying in Udaipur since the very beginning. His family had been staying in Udaipur. And, the neighbors, the reason I mentioned that they were, 5-time namazis, as they call them, because the neighbors claim that we had never had an inkling about these kind of activities. But what we are given to understand is that Mohammad Riaz, around 2013-14, went to Pakistan, Karachi, got indoctrinated over there, came back, watched a plethora of videos on YouTube which had those indoctrination sermons in them, and thereafter Ghaus Mohammad came in contact and he also got indoctrinated. Now there are several, stuff that has been already confiscated by the police initially, and perhaps that may have been passed on to the National Investigation Agency as well. And the police patrolling has been happening regularly out here. I can tell you that there is a lot of rage, a lot of angst against these men. They claim that they have destroyed the communal fabric that existed between the Hindus and the Muslims, because now they also say that there is a lot of distrust. In fact, I was speaking with a couple of young men yesterday. They told me that there has been a loss of about 20 to 25 crores. In fact, I can tell you, you asked me whether this is a Muslim locality or not.
Yeah.
The majority of the people out here do belong to the minority community, and they maintain that they have sustained losses of about 20 crore rupees because, several of them are such people who earn by the day and, sustain
and
their
ever since the
livelihood by
murder,
night.
and prohibitory orders, their shops, their businesses have been shut.
Oh, absolutely, because you see this entire, the camera person can show
it's
you
undoubtedly,
all of these shops.
Go on, show us, please.
All of these shops. Yeah, all of these shops, if the camera person brings the camera forward, I can show you all of these shops right now. Each and every shop, it's an afternoon time, it's a weekday, it's a Friday, but you can see all of these shops are shut. Several of these shops belong to Muslims, some of these shops belong to Hindus. In fact, some of the people were telling me that they have been staying in neighborhood for years, for decades, for, a number of years, and no such thing had happened. There was perfect harmony between them, but this kind of an incident really hits at the bottom of the trust factor, and that is something which has been it can take years for that trust to be built back. And they claim that they feel that sense of suspicion, that sense of distrust, that sense of a suspicious eye of people looking at them with that sense of distrust, and that is why they believe that once they go out, once this curfew ends, the life will be really difficult for them, because that communal harmony and that social fabric that existed earlier, that no longer is there, and that is perhaps the biggest cost of that one heinous, murderous, really horrific act of Kanhaiya Lal being killed.
We've seen for centuries that Hindus and Muslims in India particularly are trying to live together in peace and harmony. That's the attempt. There have been multiple attempts to disturb it, but even though people try and attempt, innocent people on ground try so hard to live in peace and harmony, such kind of unsocial elements, these sick-minded men literally blow up all those efforts put by innocent people on ground to maintain this harmony between the two communities. So clearly, we know and understand very well why there is distrust now. Unfortunately, none of those neighbors even noticed or smelt anything fishy with these men, because they were praying 5 times namaz. And that's where the fault lies, that you just because a person is religious, that does not mean he's good. There could be a lot more layers to the person. One should investigate, interrogate. While you're giving your house for rent, the first thing first is to do a police verification. If that wasn't done, that clearly is the ignorance of those locals there who believe that because they're religious, they're good people. Arvind Oja also joining me on that. A quick word, Arvind ji, वहाँ पर जो number plate के बारे में जो bike का number plate जो है, जो 2611 number plate है, वो bike लिया कब गया था? वो number plate के लिए apply कब हुआ था? ये number plate उनको मिला बहुत पहले है या अभी हाल ही में? नुपुर शर्मा के comment के बाद मिला है या उससे पहले मिला है?
नहीं, देखिए ये अभी जांच का विषय है, क्योंकि अभी तक ये क्लियर नहीं हो पाया है कि इन्होंने कब लिया है, लेकिन काफ़ी वक्त पहले, क्योंकि पैशन प्लस ये ब्लैक कलर की बाइक है और ये रिकवर भी तब हुई है, एजेंसीज को ये जानकारी भी तब मिली है जब उदयपुर से ये कन्हैया लाल का मर्डर करने के बाद जब ये भाग रहे थे, उस दौरान इसी बाइक पर सवार थे जब इनको पकड़ा गया था। अभी फिलहाल जो जानकारी मिली है उसके मुताबिक 5,000 रुपये डिपॉजिट किए थे स्पेशल नंबर लेने के लिए। ये बाइक कब ली थी इसके बारे में अभी क्लियरिटी एजेंसीज को नहीं मिली है। वो आरटीओ ऑफिस से जो यूपी एटीएस माफ़ करिएगा उदयपुर एटीएस है, वो आरटीओ ऑफिस गई है इसी की डिटेल्स निकालने के लिए, लेकिन ये क्लियर है तस्वीरों में कि 26/11 और ये हमें जानकारी एकदम पुख्ता मिली है कि एक ड्राफ्ट दिया था इन्होंने 5,000 रुपये का ये स्पेशल नंबर लेने के लिए। नवीला
जी बिल्कुल अरविंद जी, what we are of course trying to understand is whether these men had intention to strike and unleash terror much longer and much before what Nupur Sharma said. Was this always their intention to find a reason to come out with their real intention to carry out a terror strike like that? They just needed one reason for them to strike, and that's what we see here very clearly, that these men have been fully radicalized, indoctrinated. They've already visited Pakistan, and that's where it seems that they've got that influence, after which they've been watching several videos and have turned into these sick men who have now come under arrest. IG ATS Praful Kumar Udaipur speaks to the media.
और इन जो दो मेन मुख्य आरोपी पकड़े गए हैं उनके साथ इस घटना की तैयारी में, इस घटना का षड्यंत्र करने में और इस घटना को अंजाम देने में इनका एक्टिव रोल रहा है। इसके आधार पे इनको इस प्रकरण में लिया गया है।
Well, an ISIS-style execution that sent shockwaves across the country. Beheading of Udaipur's tailor Kanhaiya Lal left his family absolutely shocked, bereaved. Widespread protests soon after erupted, condemning the lack of timely response from the Rajasthan police. But Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot claims that the police did a good job. He's also now suspended the SP and the IG for not taking quick action earlier. Let's have a look.
He was threatened, brutally attacked, butchered and finally beheaded. The butchers celebrating the ghastly crime. The decapitating of Hindu tailor Kanhaiya Lal by two Islamist radicals has sparked massive outrage across the nation. Effigies were burnt, massive sloganeering erupted, and a massive crowd made mega chorus for justice. Thousands of angry protesters hit the streets, raising slogans, demanding justice and marching under heavy security. Protests erupted in several cities across the country, including Udaipur, Khargone, Jhajjar, Meerut, Aligarh and Hyderabad, where protesters sought action against the jihadis who beheaded Kanhaiya for backing Nupur Sharma. Mega protests erupted in Hyderabad by Hindu outfits, VHP and Bajrang Dal, where effigies of jihadis were burnt at the state government office. India Today reached where the Islamist radicals had made celebratory videos after beheading Kanhaiya.
इसके अंदर बैठकर उसने वीडियो बनाया था, वो वीडियो जो आज पूरे हिंदुस्तान में वायरल हो चुका है कन्हैया लाल की हत्या के बाद। इसी में बैठकर रियाज और गौस इसी शॉप में बैठकर वो वीडियो बनाया था।
Facing flack over his police denying security for the Hindu tailor despite repeated threats by Islamist radicals, CM Ashok Gehlot met the family, offering a 50 lakh ex gratia amount. He surprisingly lauded his police, saying it did a good job, arresting the killers. The family, however, rooted for justice.
हमारी पुलिस ने, एसओजी ने अच्छा काम किया। एक तरफ हत्यारों को पकड़ लिया और दूसरी तरफ मालूम कर लिया कि इनका अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगठनों से संबंध है। मेन बात ये, इसलिए नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी है ये पिक्चर के अंदर।
जैसे मारा वैसे उनको मारना। मेरे मामा को जस्टिस दो। We want justice, मेरे मामा।
The NIA, which is grilling Mohammad Riaz and Mohammad Ghoz, suspects that ISIS videos were used to radicalize them. Their mobiles are being put to forensic test to establish links with Pakistan-based Dawat-e-Islami. With Arvind Ojha and Devankur Vadhavan in Udaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, in an exclusive conversation to India Today, Tarun, the son of deceased Hindu tailor Kanhaiya Lal, has spoken. He spoke about the father who was murdered right inside his own shop for supporting suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma, and he's made some really startling observations, saying that there were threats that his father received much before the murder itself. Let's take a listen.
हम आपसे जानना चाहते हैं तरुण, जो चिता की आग है वो तो ठंडी हो गई, लेकिन आपके सीने में जो आग है, अब आप क्या चाहते हैं कि आपको न्याय मिले? किस तरह से आपको न्याय मिलेगा तरुण?
सर, ओनली सर, अभी हम खाली एक ही बात चाहते हैं कि जैसे कि उन आदमखोरों ने हमारे साथ 2 आदमखोर आए थे मेरे फादर की शॉप में, और मेरे फादर को उन्होंने खंजर चलाए थे। मतलब 26 गाँव आए हैं टोटल, न्यूज़ में हमने सुने। तो हम भी ये चाहते हैं, हम भी यही चाहते हैं कि उनके साथ मतलब कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा ही गलत होना चाहिए या उनको फांसी मिलनी चाहिए। बस कुल मिला के हमको उनको फांसी दिलानी चाहिए, हमारे मन की खराश निकल जाएगी। तो उनको फांसी मिलेगी तो उससे हमारे मन को तो संतुष्ट होगा।
क्या इन लोगों के बारे में आप कुछ पहले से जानते थे, या इन लोगों को आपके पिताजी के बारे में किसने बताया? इसके बारे में आपको कोई जानकारी है? आपको खतरा असल में था किससे?
नो सर, ये क्या बंदे जो लोग आए थे वो सर अननोन पर्सन थे, ना हमने कभी उनको देखा ना उनका कभी कुछ सुना सर। खाली उनसे पहले खाली 2-3 आए थे, वो भी खाली ओनली धमकी देके गए थे। बाकी ये कुल मिला के हमारे अननोन पर्सन थे, क्योंकि ना हमने कभी देखा इनको ना कभी जाना। और पहले केस भी हुआ था, वो भी बंदा अलग था, और बीच में धमकी देने भी अलग है, मतलब सब पर्सन अलग अलग सर।
तो क्या आप तरुण इसे क्या कोई बड़ी साजिश के रूप में देखते हैं कि धमकाने कोई अलग पार्टी आई, अलग लोग आए, मारने कोई अलग लोग आए? ये भी पुलिस ने कहा कि कुछ लोगों ने रेकी की थी आपके घर की, कुछ लोग नजर रखे हुए थे आपके घर पे। क्या आपको मालूम है कौन थे वो लोग जो नजर रखे थे आपके घर पे?
नो सर, घर के साथ कोई नजर नहीं थी सर। जो था ओनली था जो ओनली शॉप पे था। इधर सर हमारा घर है थोड़ा आउटर साइड आता, तो सर इधर की कोई टेंशन नहीं, खाली था जो हमारे साथ दुकान पे था। ओनली दुकान पे रेकी होती थी, इधर धमकी होती थी, पर सर ये अलग अलग आता है, तो उसके हिसाब से लगता है सर ये बहुत बड़ी कोई चालबाज थी।
अच्छा तरुण, आपके पिताजी पुलिस के पास भी गए थे और पुलिस ने शायद उन्हीं को बिठा लिया था थाने में, हुआ क्या था ये?
तो वो सर एक खाली फोटोग्राफ था जो फेसबुक पे शेयर हो गया था, और खाली वो मुस्लिम लोग हैं, वो सामने हमारे सामने उनकी क्या 2 महीने पहले दुकान खाली हो गई थी, और वो जो बंदा था उसने ही जाके केस लिखाया था। बस इतनी सी बात हुई, तो उन्होंने जाके केस लिखाया, तो रात को फिर मेरे पापा को आए और फिर अरेस्ट किया था, और फिर 1 रात जेल में रहे। जेल में मतलब
12 तारीख की बात है, 12 जून की बात है।
यस सर।
फिर
एक पूरे दिन जेल में रहे, फिर कोर्ट गए, फिर पेशी, मतलब फिर उसके बाद वो हुआ था छूटे थे, फिर उसके बाद 6-7 दिन तक दुकान क्लोज रही थी, बंद रही, फिर उसके बाद धीरे धीरे चालू करी थी।
जब आपके पिताजी ने पुलिस को शिकायत लगाई कि उनकी जान को खतरा है, तब पुलिस ने क्या आपकी मदद की?
नहीं सर, एक पर्सन में मदद नहीं की, खाली वो बोलते थाने आओ, और फिर खाली बोलचाल होती थी सर, उसके अलावा कुछ ज़्यादा होता तो नहीं था। ना शॉप पे आते थे, शॉप पे भी खाली आते थे 2 मिनट के लिए एविडेंस लेने के लिए कि दुकान माहौल शांत है कि नहीं है, बस उससे अलावा ज़्यादा से ध्यान नहीं।
आपके परिवार का ये मानना है क्या कि अगर पुलिस ने कड़ी कार्रवाई की होती तो संभवतः आपके पिताजी आज जीवित होते?
यस सर, पुलिस अगर कड़ी कार्रवाई करती है कि बंदे मतलब जो सामने वाला उन्होंने सुलह कराया, पर उसके बाद भी मतलब फुल सेफ्टी नहीं है, मुस्लिम है सर, वो कुछ भी कर सकते हो।
All right, in a big setback to Nupur Sharma, Supreme Court has pulled up BJP's ex-spokesperson over Prophet Muhammad remarks. Exclusive, India Today exclusive, as we bring to you the CCTV footage of the murderers walking brazenly towards Kanhaiya Lal's shop, the tailoring shop, and have carried out the crime. This is the CCTV footage that we bring to you right here. Fresh CCTV images coming in on the Udaipur beheading. Alright, this is a fresh CCTV footage coming in of the Udaipur beheading. How the accused runs away soon after the murder was carried out. I'm going to cut across to Dev Ankur for a little clarity on this. Dev, could you please establish for us what the CCTV footage really signifies?
Well, you know, clearly at that point in time when the murderous attack was taking place, the CCTV camera was installed inside the shop of Kanhaiya Lal, the Supreme Tailor shop, which was there in the market in Udaipur, where the murderous attack took place. In fact, not just Kanhaiya Lal, there were 2 of his employees, the 2 key eyewitnesses who were present when that attack took place. In fact, The people that I've spoken with, Nabila, they mentioned that the CCTV footage, the CCTV that was there inside the shop, that was not functioning at that point in time. But there are several CCTV cameras which perhaps were installed outside the shop in the vicinity, which, the National Investigation Agency and initially the Rajasthan police were taking note of and were investigating. And perhaps this is the footage which may have been recorded from outside the shop while the accused were on the run, while they were trying to leave from that spot. After they had mercilessly butchered Kanhaiya Lal, who had sustained as many as 26 stab wounds. In fact, the police had been trying to, ascertain through CCTV footage as to how they entered inside the shop initially and what was it that conspired inside the shop once they were there, and the entire the act that was filmed inside the shop, while one of them Mohammed Riaz and Ghaus Mohammed, who were inside the shop, one of them filmed the entire incident, and the other one stabbed initially was trying to give his measurements to Kanhaiya Lal on the pretext of getting cloth stitched, and thereafter he was brutally stabbed as many as 26 times, 8 to 10 times near the neck region. So yeah, those stab wounds that were there, they turned out to be fatal, and the postmortem also mentions that he died because of excessive bleeding. So all the sequencing of events, how they took place one after the other, that is something in which the CCTV can prove to be a crucial element. Nabila.
No, but at this point, whose shop is this? Is this Kanhaiya Lal's shop, where we see the boy frantically pushing all those items inside the shop and trying to down the shutters? Why is he reacting? And who is that man on the bike that comes by and informs that person about something? And soon after that information, he seems to be rushing to get all his items inside the shop and then shutting shutters.
Well, Nabila, there were two people apart from Kanhaiya Lal and the two accused of murders, Ghaus Mohammed and Riaz Mohammed, who were there inside the shop, who went inside the shop with the motive of murdering Kanhaiya Lal. Now, once the act was committed, thereafter, Ishwar, who was there as one of the employees of Kanhaiya Lal, ran out. He, in fact, called up the aunt of Yash, who is the son of Kanhaiya Lal, the 20-year-old son of Kanhaiya Lal, and he was frantically trying to ensure that somehow maybe Kanhaiya Lal could be revived, but that was not to happen because he had died at that very moment while he was being stabbed by the duo Ghaus Mohammed and Riaz Mohammed, who were involved in that entire murderous act. Now, the other person, in fact, Ishwar also sustained injuries. He is currently in MB Hospital of Udaipur, the Maharana Bhopali Hospital of Udaipur. He has been undergoing medical treatment at this point in time. The other person who was there inside the shop, who is also an employee of Kanhaiya Lal, he is currently, in custody of police. He is not detained. He has not been arrested, but the police wants to investigate, want to know about the entire, how they came inside the shop, how the entire recce, perhaps he was a witness to that also. How did that happen? And all the details that the two people have, the police wants to have access to all of them, and that is why these people, are being kept under watch, and the NIA and the police want to ensure that these people become a part of the foolproof investigation that they want to carry out against those guilty of murdering Kanhaiya Lal so brutally and in such a horrific manner, which clearly has sent shockwaves across Udaipur. Nabila.
Right, at this point, Devankur, that video that we see here, the latest CCTV footage, shows a boy rushing to get all his items inside. Is that boy the son of Kanhaiya Lal? Is this shop Kanhaiya Lal's shop?
Well, Nabila, the shop of Kanhaiya Lal has the board of Supreme Tailor on it. There are several shops in the vicinity. The CCTV footage that seems to have emerged is from the outside the shop, because as I even mentioned earlier to you, the CCTV camera that was there inside Kanhaiya Lal's shop was not functioning at that point in time. The sons have already stated that, but this footage which you have spoken about seems to have emerged from outside, from the vicinity of Supreme Tailor, which is the shop of Kanhaiya Lal. But at this point in time, the shops have, although they are closed because curfew prevails in that area, the police has been trying to ascertain which all places had CCTV cameras in the vicinity because they want to know the route that these people took
so
and
just
how
for
is
some
it that
clarity to our viewers here, this CCTV footage, the latest CCTV footage that you see on your screens on the right-hand side, basically is of a shop right next to Kanhaiya Lal's. Soon after they understood that Kanhaiya Lal was murdered, soon after they were informed, this boy here rushes in in a frantic hurry to shut his shop down, fearing for his own life, because he just has found out from what we see here, he has just understood that Kanhaiya Lal, the man who runs a shop right opposite his, has been murdered, and therefore this man, quite in a hurry, pushes all the belongings inside and tries to shut his shop as he fears for his own life. Now this CCTV footage will be crucial for the police in investigation, but Dev, at this point, how is this going to really aid in investigation, since this video does not show off the murderers itself, there's no sight. All right, I'm going to try and cut across to Dev for more on that, but this is a visual here that we see on the right-hand sides of your screens. A shop that is right opposite Kanhaiya Lal. Soon after they were intimated of Kanhaiya Lal's murder, it seems like that one biker, a man on a scooter, came by and almost informed this boy that Kanhaiya Lal is murdered. It appears that he was informed, and quickly this boy rushes to bring all the belongings inside the shop and shut shutters down because they were fearing for their life. It's a natural reaction that if a crime takes place in the vicinity, you have people across putting their shutters down so that they are safe. And this we see is exactly what has happened there on that fateful day when Kanhaiya Lal was murdered in broad daylight. Inside his own shop. It sent shockwaves across the neighborhood, the vicinity there. Many of those shops right next to Kanhaiya Lal were feared for their own life. The shop owners there quickly rushing to shut down their own shutters. And this is one such example coming of a CCTV footage coming to fore of a shop right outside Kanhaiya Lal's, or right opposite Kanhaiya Lal's was another clothes shop, a garment shop, where this boy, it looks like, was informed that Kanhaiya Lal has been murdered, and soon as he heard that, he rushed in fear, brought all his belongings inside the shop to shut down shutters, only so that he could save his own life. That's the CCTV footage that we see on our screens right now. In fact, there's still no clarity on whether the murderers can be seen in this video, if their foot movements are visible. But the boy on the right-hand side of your screens is a boy who runs a shop opposite Kanhaiya Lal's, and he, out of fear, frantically rushed out, brought all the belongings and tried to shut down his own shutters because he was worried for his own life. This CCTV footage, of course, speaks of a lot when it comes to the fear that the murderers created of the people in the minds across the vicinity. In fact, the people were shell-shocked, of that spine-chilling murder that took place right opposite their shop, right in their own locality, in their own vicinity, in their own neighborhood, that so far they deemed as safe. Two men brazenly walked into a shop, Kanhaiya Lal's shop, attacked him with a machete multiple times. 26 times he was stabbed, about 10 times on his neck alone, and left him in a pool of blood. And then they walked out quite brazenly, putting up a video, almost boasting about this murder that they've carried out. In fact, that certainly has left the country shocked at this point on with what impunity these men have acted right under the nose of law. Here we are seeing the ripple effect soon after a message came out that Kanhaiya Lal, the man in the opposite shop, has been murdered. It seems like the shopkeepers in the vicinity, the other men who owned shops and ran shops in the vicinity, quickly got their belongings inside and tried to put their shutters down out of absolute fear. Only justified. That's the visual that we see here in the latest CCTV footage that's emerging right here on India Today. Now, an ISIS-style execution that has sent shockwaves across the country. The beheading of Udaipur's tailor Kanhaiya Lal left his family shocked and bereaved. Wide protests erupt condemning the lack of timely response from Rajasthan police. But Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot claims that the police have done a fairly good job. He's nonetheless suspended and, in fact, sacked two of his police personnel. One is the IG as well as the SP for not taking up the complaint that Kanhaiya Lal filed before his murder seriously. Here's more on that.
He was threatened, brutally attacked, butchered, and finally beheaded. The butchers celebrating the ghastly crime. The decapitating of Hindu tailor Kanhaiya Lal by two Islamist radicals has sparked massive outrage across the nation. Effigies were burnt, massive sloganeering erupted, and a massive crowd made mega chorus for justice. Thousands of angry protesters hit the streets, raising slogans, demanding justice, and marching under heavy security. Protests erupted in several cities across the country, including Udaipur, Khargone, Jhajjar, Meerut, Aligarh, and Hyderabad, where protesters sought action against the jihadis who beheaded Kanhaiya for backing Nupur Sharma. Mega protests erupted in Hyderabad by Hindu outfits, VHP and Bajrang Dal, where effigies of jihadis were burnt at the state government office. India Today reached where the Islamist radicals had made celebratory videos after beheading Kanhaiya.
इसके अंदर बैठकर उसने वीडियो बनाया था, वो वीडियो जो आज पूरे हिंदुस्तान में वायरल हो चुका है कन्हैया लाल की हत्या के बाद। इसी में बैठकर रियाज और गौस इसी शॉप में बैठकर वो वीडियो बनाया था।
Facing flack over his police denying security for the Hindu tailor despite repeated threats by Islamist radicals, CM Ashok Gehlot met the family, offering a 50 lakh ex gratia amount. He surprisingly lauded his police, saying it did a good job, arresting the killers. The family, however, rooted for justice.
हमारी पुलिस ने एसओजी ने अच्छा काम किया, एक तरफ हत्यारों को पकड़ लिया और दूसरी तरफ मालूम कर लिया कि इनका अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगठनों से संबंध है। मेन बात ये इसलिए नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी आई है पिक्चर के अंदर।
जैसे मारा वैसे उनको मारना, मेरे मामा को जस्टिस दो, we want justice, मेरे मामा।
The NIA, which is grilling Mohammad Riaz and Mohammad Ghoz, suspects that ISIS videos were used to radicalize them. Their mobiles are being put to forensic test to establish links with Pakistan-based Dawat-e-Islami. With Arvind Ojha and Devankur Vadhavan in Udaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, cutting across to Devankur Vadhavan joining us from Udaipur. Dev, what's the situation like? We know there was massive outrage and protests in different pockets of Rajasthan. Has that calmed down today, 2 days post the murder?
Well, there is an uneasy calm that prevails in Udaipur right now. One reason is that Section 144 is still in place. The other reason is that in several parts of Udaipur, Nabila, the curfew is in place. I showed you the Khanjipir area, the minority-dominated area, from where both Mohammad Riaz and Ghaus Mohammed were staying. At that place, there is a heavy police presence. There is, the shops are shut. People cannot venture out. There is absolutely no way that people can have access to even some of the basic facilities like food, milk, groceries. So there is a tough situation that is prevailing in Udaipur, and there is a lot of anger. Even in the neighborhood where both Ghaus Mohammed and Riaz Mohammed were staying, they're saying that they have spoiled the name of the community. They were saying that they had no idea that these people were up to something like this. But clearly, at this point in time, when so much of tension prevails, the Rajasthan police is on tenterhooks. The Rajasthan district administrations are on tenterhooks. And, initially there was an internet ban which was there in the entire state. But since then, there has been a certain amount of relaxation. There has been a certain amount of easing out of the situation. But still, there have been several protests in various parts, including in different pockets of Udaipur, where even the police was attacked by some of the protesters. In fact, there were stones that were pelted. And we also heard about clashes that have taken place. In fact, even yesterday, when the two accused were produced in the court, there were chants of people asking for of hanging by death for the accused, death by hanging for the accused, and also saying that they should not be spared, and that the way that they killed Kanhaiya Lal, the same fate should be meted out to them as well. So at this point in time, there is simmering anger. There is a lot of resentment amongst people against the police also. They claim that Kanhaiya Lal had gone to them and mentioned that this is the kind of threat that he had been facing, that he fears for his life. But despite all of that, initially the police tried to bring about a peace settlement between the two sides. Thereafter, even when there was a woman and a male person who visited the shop and threatened him with dire consequences. Even after that,
that's what leaves us so shocked, that despite informing the police, Kanhaiya Lal did seek some kind of help from the police, but instead of actually helping him out, they detained him for 24 hours for making that post supporting Nupur Sharma. And that's why this case needs to be looked at very, very closely. The police also have got to take cognizance and learn a lesson or two from this case that has unfolded. You can't possibly take a threat to life, a complaint from a person claiming threat to life, not seriously. Here, clearly, because of the police's ignorance, we've lost Kanhaiya Lal. Let's hope this really resonates within the police as well. Now shifting our focus to Nupur Sharma, a big setback for her in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court today pulled up BJP's ex-spokesperson over Prophet Muhammad's remarks. The top court blamed Nupur Sharma for the horrendous killing in Udaipur. Supreme Court has also accused Nupur of igniting emotions across the country and said that she owed the nation an apology. The Apex Court has said that she single-handedly set the whole nation on fire. Supreme Court has reacted to a petition by Nupur Sharma to transfer all the FIRs filed against her in multiple states to one state, Delhi. She was facing threats, that's what she claimed through her lawyer, that she has threat to life, which is why she wants all the FIRs to be clubbed in Delhi. But the Supreme Court dismissed Nupur Sharma's plea, asking her to first approach the High Court. The court snubbed Nupur Sharma's arguments on equal treatment and no discrimination. Nupur Sharma's offensive comments was made during a TV debate that sparked massive outrage in India and several Gulf countries. They're summoning Indian diplomats to issue severe reprimands on her.
So do you want to say me to say that the Supreme Court is wrong? I won't say that. That's number one. And number two, do you need the Gulf countries to police you? Otherwise, if the Gulf countries had not said anything, then what this lady said was right. Please, there are, for a long time, this country has gone on.
Just to ask you.
I am sorry. You called me on the program.
Yes,
so
absolutely. No, I'm just asking your opinion, of course, not to cast any aspersions on what the Supreme Court is saying.
No. So exactly, the Supreme Court, and when the Supreme Court says it, it says it as the Supreme Court for the country. And the Supreme Court has also asked very pertinent questions of that channel. But it was that channel that day. Your channel or other channels have been no less. And it's a salutary message from the Supreme Court to all channels. Please do not harvest hatred.
I am glad that Supreme Court has taken cognizance of that, because Udaipur is a fallout of the statement made by Nupur Sharma, and if it is coming from the Apex Court, it will definitely have an impact not only on the country but also world over where there have been protests. Now, coming to the clubbing of FIRs from all states is absolutely a bizarre demand, because everywhere it would be a specific criminal issue, and how can you club at least thousands and hundreds of FIRs? I think the very fact she came forward and asked for this relief itself was brazen. But nonetheless, Supreme Court telling her that it is not possible is a very welcome relief, because somehow people were thinking that the Supreme Court is looking the other way, Supreme Court is not coming with justice. But when Justice Pardiwala says that tries to pull up Nupur Sharma, I think it's a very positive direction, because India talks of the preamble talks of a secular nature. Then we have Article 14, which says equality before law and equal protection of laws. So, but also at the same time it says you are innocent till proven guilty. So let the law of the land take its course, and truth should come out.
All right. Meanwhile, the opposition was quick to slam the BJP's ex-spokesperson Nupur Sharma, sought an apology from the leader for her remarks. Listening to some of those political reactions, almost hailing what the Supreme Court has said.
The Amit Shah has been protecting Nupur Sharma. That is very clear on this. And it's come out on another very important point is that the Congress party has been fighting this sort of ideology, this sort of hate which is happening in the country. And that is what it is all about. Today, it's clearly out there that Nupur is to be blamed for that sort of atmosphere, that sort of hatred. And basically, according to me, Nupur is a small fish. The big fishes who has started this sort of hatred in our society in India has to be strongly condemned and told that this is because of them.
जो कुछ भी हमारे प्रॉफिट के खिलाफ हो रहा है वो दरअसल जानते नहीं लोग प्रॉफिट के बारे में, उनकी तालीमात के बारे में नहीं जानते, उनके किरदार के बारे में नहीं जानते, उस पैगाम के बारे में नहीं जानते जो प्रॉफिट ने दिया था। लिहाजा हम किसी ऐसी चीज़ की हिमायत तो करना दूर, इसको बर्दाश्त भी नहीं कर सकते। हम सख्त मजम्मत करते हैं और हमें तो शुबा है कि पता नहीं ये काम हुआ कहाँ से।
So many disturbing incidents happen because of this blasphemous statement of person. But that person is still moving freely. It is unfortunate the government is protecting him. BJP is protecting her. This is a culprit. When some culprit spread venom and entire society become poisonous, immediately that should be stopped, checked and punished according to law. But the government failed to take any action protecting her from being arrested or from being any other action.
All right, coming up on the other side of a short break, another setback to Udhav Sena. Supreme Court has now refused to hear a plea seeking suspension of 6 rebels urgently. Says the matter will only be heard on the 11th of July, as was decided previously. More details up next.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171.
You are watching India Today.
Today is, the launch to the world of a fully operational urban airport. The first time ever in the world that there's an operational piece of infrastructure of this kind.
I think you'll see some operations this decade, but I think the 2030s will really be the decade of advance air mobility, and you'll really start to see this be more ubiquitous from that point on.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today. You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Co-powered by The World Comes Together at Sharda University.
Top stories at this side. It's a huge setback to Uddhav's Sena, Uddhav Thackeray's faction of the Shiv Sena. We're getting you all the details on that story, with the court refusing to hear the plea, seeking suspension of 16 rebels urgently. Says we'll hear the matter on the 11th of July. Shinde Trust vote in Maharashtra Assembly on the 4th of July. One symbol, one party and two claimants. The war between Shinde camp and Uddhav camp over who is the real Shiv Sena rages on. Shinde all set to claim party symbol. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut appears before the Enforcement Directorate in the Patra Chawl land scam case. Says he is not scared. Supreme Court pulls up former BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma for a prophet remark, says she must apologize to the nation, blames her for the Udaipur beheading. The sensational 2611 link to the Udaipur beheading case. Killers paid 5,000 rupees to get a special 2611 bike number plate. CCTV images of how killers fled has been accessed. Floods wreak havoc in northeast. Over 30 lakh affected in Assam alone. Unprecedented downpour and landslides in Arunachal. Parts of Bihar inundated. Some breaking news just coming in. Let's get started with that. This is Uddhav Thackeray's first address shortly after change of guard in Maharashtra. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Shinde left for Mumbai from Goa. Uddhav Thackeray is going to, in fact, speaking to the people, a first address after the huge political turmoil that we've seen in the state of Maharashtra. In just some time, Uddhav Thackeray will be speaking. And right now, as far as the new Chief Minister is concerned, Eknath Shinde has left for Maharashtra, has left for Mumbai from Goa, where he was. Uddhav Thackeray, of course, as the very latest, has lost the Chief Minister's chair and now will be speaking. The first address really after the change of guard in the state of Maharashtra. Chief Minister's address.
मला वाटतं पत्रकार घोषणा देतो. येस, शिवसैनिक प्रश्न नाही विचारत मला. शिवसैनिक त्यांचं मन मोकळं करतात माहिती. बरं ठीक आहे, बऱ्याच दिवसानंतर आपण असे फेस टू फेस भेटतो. आतापर्यंत मी गेले 2-2.5 वर्ष फेसबुक लाईव्हच्या माध्यमातून माझ्या भावना माझ्या महाराष्ट्रातल्या जनतेशी किंवा त्यांच्या चरणी सादर करत आलेलो आहे. साहजिकच आहे सगळ्यांना आणि आपल्याला सुद्धा माझ्याकडनं सध्याच्या राजकीय परिस्थितीवरती घडामोडीवरती एक प्रतिक्रिया काय ती उत्सुकता असणार. पहिल्या प्रथम मी नवनिर्मित सरकारचं कालच अभिनंदन केलेलं आहे आणि सरकारकडनं हीच एक अपेक्षा ही सर्वसाधारण नागरिकाप्रमाणे माझी पण आहे. एक 2-3 विषय माझ्या मनात आज आहेत जे मी आपल्या समोर जनतेसाठी मांडतो.
There are 2 to 3 topics which I want to discuss today with you.
पहिला प्रश्न हा आहे
The first question is
सरकार स्थापन झालं,
the way this government has been established.
आणि ज्यांनी हे सरकार स्थापन केलं त्यांच्या मते तथाकथित शिवसैनिकाला मुख्यमंत्री केला.
Those who have formed this government have made Shiv Sainik a chief minister.
ठरलं होतं की शिवसेना आणि भारतीय
This is what was decided between me and Amit Shah.
मुख्यमंत्री पदाचा काळ वाटून घ्यावा.
It was decided at 2.5 years of CM with Sena, 2.5 years with BJP. If this would have happened earlier, then MBA wouldn't have been formed.
पद्धतीने कदाचित तिने 2.5 वर्ष
Anyways, 2.5 years have been passed in the government.
म्हणजे पहिल्या 2.5 वर्षात शिवसेनेचा मुख्यमंत्री झाला असता किंवा भाजपाचा झाला असता.
First 2.5 years would have been seen as मुख्यमंत्री, chief minister, and later BJP.
पहिला झाला असता, जो दुसरा होता त्याचा झाला असता. मग त्यावेळेला नकार देऊन आता हे असं का?
But at that point of time they refused.
माझ्याच प्रमाणे
BJP refused.
पडलेला प्रश्न आहे की असं का घडलं?
The question now with the people of Maharashtra is why they refused at that point of time and now accepted.
बरोबर होतो. विधानसभा किंवा लोकसभा निवडणुकीच्या आधी
We and BJP were fighting elections together.
मला कशाला?
And this was something which was decided.
जर तसं घडलं असतं तर महाविकास आघाडीचा जन्मच झाला नसता.
If this would have happened in 2019, then MBA wouldn't have been born.
जे गेले त्यांनी हा प्रश्न स्वतःच्या मनाला विचारायला पाहिजे.
Those who have gone with the BJP should ask the question to themselves.
पुन्हा एकदा शिवसैनिकांमध्ये संभ्रम निर्माण करण्यासाठी शिवसेनेचा मुख्यमंत्री हा तसा शिवसेनेचा मुख्यमंत्री.
Again to establish misunderstanding between Shiv Sainik, chief minister of from Shiv Sena has been made.
त्याच्यानंतर या
That is an important issue.
आज पहिल्या प्रथम तुम्हाला माझा चेहरा पडलेला दिसत असेल कारण मला आज
first time you must be seeing me
माझ्यावरती राग आहे ना, माझ्यावरती राग काढा, माझ्या पाठीत वार करा, पण मुंबईच्या काळजात कट्यार घुसवू नका. माझा राग मुंबईवरती काढू नका.
If you want to attack me, but don't cheat Mumbai.
दुःख झालेलं आहे. हा काही
whatever they have done, I have saddened by that.
आपण तो आंदोलन देत नाही आहोत. तिथे जे काही पर्यावरणासाठी आवश्यक असलेलं जंगल आणि वनराई होती जी एका रात्रीचं खेळ चालले. आता
referring to RA metro shed, he is saying that we have removed car shed from RA mill colony not because of some builder, because of the environmental concerns.
स्टे दिल्यानंतर मुंबईच्या विकासाच्या आड मी येत होतो का? अजिबात नाही. मी त्याला कांजूर मार्गाचा पर्याय सुचवला.
Development in Mumbai should happen. I am not coming in between the development of Mumbai, but it should be balanced with environment.
माझं म्हणजे माझं नाही, मी पर्यावरणवाद्यांच्या सोबत आहे, पर्यावरणाच्या सोबत आहे.
I am with pro environment.
संभ्रम निर्माण होतो त्यावेळेला ती गोष्ट
there is a misunderstanding which is being created.
स्पष्ट आहे. आणि आजही माझं मत त्यांना हात जोडून विनंती आहे की कृपा करून माझ्यावर
with my folded hands request them not to make a car shed in RA and don't play with the environment of Mumbai.
अहंकार नाही.
Metro car shed should happen at Kanjur Marg for the common people of Mumbai.
जो काही आपला आग्रह आहे तो रेटू नका की जेणेकरून
I request with folded hands that don't remove forest tag for with RA and make a metro shed there.
तिकडे बिबट्या फिरतानाचा फोटो हा काही छायाचित्रकारांनी काढलेला आहे. म्हणजे तिकडे वन्यजीवन आहे. झाडं कापल्यामुळे
photographers have clicked photos that there is wildlife present in that area.
की आता तुम्ही आरेचा भाग घेतल्यानंतर कालांतराने त्याच्या तिकडे रहदारी सुरू झाल्यानंतर आजूबाजूच्या परिसरातलं वन्यजीव आहे, वनजीवन आहे ते भेटत येणार. करता करता मग आता तिकडे काय
if you start construction in RA, the wildlife which is present in RA will be affected with and damaged with it.
पण आरेचा निर्णय हा कृपा करून तुम्ही रेटून नेऊ नका. कांजूर मार्गाचा जो
don't take the RA metro car shed decision. I am requesting you.
ही जमीन नागरिकांची आहे, महाराष्ट्राची आहे आणि ती
This land belongs to the people.
जेणेकरून
and Kanjur Marg land should be loaned. It belongs to the people of Maharashtra.
कांजूरला गेल्यानंतर ती थेट मेट्रो मी मागे आपल्याला बोललो होतो बदलापूर अंबरनाथ पर्यंत जाऊ शकते. हा एक
if you go make a car shed in Kanjur Marg, even the Badlapur line which is outside Mumbai can be made in Kanjur Marg.
की लोकशाहीचे 4 स्तंभ आहेत असतात असं मानतो. त्याच्यात तुम्ही आलात, न्यायालय आलं, आणखीन काही 4 स्तंभ आहेत.
मेन पिलर्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी.
आता पुढे आलं पाहिजे लोकशाही वाचवायला. कारण लोकांचा आता लोकशाहीवर
all 4 pillars should come forward to save democracy.
लोकशाही जर का कोसळली तर या स्तंभाला काय आधार किंवा स्तंभाला काही अर्थ राहणार नाही. मग ते
there will be no meaning to the pillars if there is a collapse of democracy.
हे मी तुम्हाला का सांगतोय कारण आपल्याकडे गुप्त मतदान.
I am telling you this because
मतदान कोणी कोणाला केलं हे गुप्त राहतं. पण निदान ज्यांनी मतदान केलेलं आहे त्याला तरी कळलं पाहिजे मी कोणाला मतदान केलं. त्याची जर का
whom you have voted for remain hidden, but people who have voted for you, we should try and work for them.
विश्वास उडाल्याशिवाय राहणार नाही. ठीक आहे.
If such things happen, then people will lose faith and trust in democracy.
तर अशा वेळेला शिवसेना प्रमुख जे बोलायचे की मतदाराला आपण मत देऊन निवडून आलेल्या आपल्या प्रतिनिधीला परत बोलवण्याचा अधिकार असला पाहिजे. म्हणजे आम्ही जर का त्यावेळेला चूक केली तर मतदारांनी आम्हाला सुद्धा बोलवण्याचा
your vote. This was something which Balasaheb had told. If somebody has voted for you, they should have the right to recall that vote.
ज्या मतदारसंघात बसलेलो आहोत हा आता शिवसेना भवन आहे, म्हणजे माहीम मतदारसंघ. माहीमच्या मतदारांनी टाकलेलं मत हे वाया सुरत, वाया गुवाहाटी, वाया गोवा हे असं जर का फिरायला लागलं आणि त्या मतदाराला
If a person in Mahim has voted and his vote is taken to Surat, Goa, Guwahati, this is not right.
लोकशाही आहे कुठे आपल्या देशामध्ये? म्हणून मला असं वाटतं की
something which raises questions of democracy in the country.
बोललो होतो की 75 वर्ष आपल्या देशाला झाली, लोकशाहीला झाली, पण
last time also I had said that it's been 75 years of independence.
हिंदोडे आता थांबवण्याची गरज आहे आणि लोकशाहीमध्ये सर्वोच्च जो आपला मतदार असतो त्याचं मत, त्याचा बाजार
in a democracy a voter is supreme.
ते माझ्यासाठी नक्कीच देशाच्या दृष्टीने घातक आहे. म्हणून मी माझे 3 मुद्दे जे आता मांडले ते पुन्हा एकदा सांगतो.
Hence I have discussed these 3 topics with you.
हे सरकार माझ्या बरोबर माननीय अमित शहानी जे ठरवलं होतं मातोश्रीमध्ये,
the government which has come in now would have been the same government if Amit Shah had not kept his promise which was made with me.
2 वर्षापूर्वी एक तर भारतीय जनता पक्षाचा मुख्यमंत्री झाला असता किंवा शिवसेनेचा झाला होता असता. मी तर तेव्हाही सांगितलं
2.5 years ago it would have been Sena or a BJP chief minister.
तर त्या मुख्यमंत्र्याची सही, त्याच्यानंतर पक्षप्रमुख म्हणून माझी सही आणि त्या पत्राचा मजकूर हा असेल की आज शिवसेनेचा मुख्यमंत्री होतो आहे आणि हा शिवसेनेचा मुख्यमंत्री म्हणजे महाराष्ट्राचा मुख्यमंत्री आमच्या ठरलेल्या कराराप्रमाणे या तारखेला पायउतार होईल. हे पत्र तयार करा.
There would have been a document which have been signed with the chief minister and with my signature that it's a chief minister and he will step down in 2.5 years.
मला ह्याचं दुःख
whatever happens has happened now.
हे अशा पद्धतीने वागले, माझ्या पाठीत सुरा
The way they behaved with me is something which has saddened me.
भोसकू नका हे माझं एक म्हणणं आहे.
Whatever happened to me has happened to me, but don't cheat the Mumbaikars.
त्यांनी पाळला असता तर 5 वर्षात निदान 2.5 वर्ष तरी भाजपचा मुख्यमंत्री झाला असता. आता 5 वर्ष भाजपचा मुख्यमंत्री होता.
If they would have kept the word they had given to me, at least 2.5 years, BJP would have had a chief minister. But now, for entire 5 years, they will not get a chief minister.
यातनं काय मिळणार आहे हे
what people are getting out of all of this is something which we should consider.
8-10 दिवसामध्ये अक्षरशः मला जे काही मेसेज आले, मला
in last 8 to 10 days whatever messages I got,
जी माझ्याबद्दलची भावना
or social media comments which I got received,
महाराष्ट्रातल्या तमाम जनतेचा ऋणी आहे.
I am thankful for all these comments.
की एखादा माणूस अनपेक्षित आल्यानंतर तो आपलं पद सोडताना लोक रडतात. तर ही माझ्या आयुष्याची कमाई आहे.
It wouldn't have been expected that a person who came in as chief minister unexpectedly, when he is leaving the chair, people will cry.
होणार नाही, कधी माझ्याकडनं गद्दारी होणार नाही. तुमचे हे जे आज अश्रू आहेत, ही अश्रू माझी मोठी ताकद आहे आणि या ताकदीसोबत
your tears, the tears of people is strength to me, makes me strong.
सत्ता येते, सत्ता जाते, सत्ता परत येते.
Government will come and power will go.
हे क्वचित कोणाला लाभत असेल ते मला लाभलं आणि ज्यांना परत एकदा मी सांगतो की अशा विचित्र पद्धतीने पुत्र मुख्यमंत्री पदावरनं उतरून स्वतः मुख्यमंत्री बनण्याचा जो एक अट्टहास त्यांनी जो काही केला हा जनतेला आवडेल न आवडेल हे जनतेने ठरवायचं आहे. कारण
people will decide whether this move of making step down the chief son of Balasaheb Thackeray and becoming chief minister yourself is something which people are accepted or something I don't know. Time will only tell.
Uddhav Thackeray, the former chief minister, hitting out at Devendra Fadnavis, talking about the betrayal of people, saying, abuse me if you want to, but do not betray the people of Maharashtra, is what he has just said in his first address. Now, the chief minister, the former chief minister, has spoken about the fact that he does not really understand what the BJP has gained in all of this. They're not going to be having their chief minister, is what he said. He's also spoken about the controversial RA project, a decision that possibly the new chief minister has reversed, that was taken by the Uddhav Thackeray government. He says, do not reverse the decision as far as the RA colony is concerned. However, that seems to be an important decision that has been taken by the newly appointed new Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde. With the new government all set to shift the car project back to the RA colony is what is being indicated right now, something that Uddhav Thackeray has spoken about. He's made an emotional appeal, saying the tears of the people are his strength. He's also spoken about the fact that the need of the hour is to save democracy. 4 pillars of democracy should come forward to save democracy. Democracy is getting hampered, is what he said in his address just a few moments ago. Backstab me, but do not backstab Mumbai is what he said, referring to the RA colony decision. He's spoken about the fact that his decision has been reversed and that is not right. He says he's unhappy about that. He's also said that if you're angry with me, do not take your anger out on this city. He's also spoken about the fact that the recent political developments has created confusion among Shiv Sainiks, and that is not something that is desirable. In fact, interestingly, Uddhav Thackeray has also referred to the political developments in the past in which, okay, I'm just going to go across to Ram Kadam of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Thank you for your time. Your first reaction to what Uddhav Thackeray said, that had the BJP kept its promise 2.5 years ago when they had decided to make a chief minister from the BJP for 2.5 years and one from the Shiv Sena, then there would have been no scope of the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government to begin with. How do you respond to that?
Firstly, I will not comment on that topic because in the past also our senior leaders about that issue. Now the another point which Uddhav Thackeray said about the RA, we need to understand that because of their ego, already Mumbaikars have been facing 2,000 crore rupees loss. Every day we are facing crore rupees of the loss. We are not going to fail a single tree over there. If you go to the RA metro car shed land, it's a playground where we can play cricket or football. Then what is the ego? Why they have not built their metro car shed? This is our question. And when this matter was with the High Court, under the guidelines of the High Court, when Devendraji was in power, they have abide by the High Court orders and they have taken action. But this Aghadi government, because of their ego, they stalled the work. And now because of we are facing heavy losses, that work has to be started. So when Devendraji became Deputy Chief Minister, he has taken this first decision in the interest of the Mumbaikars. Whereas on the one hand, we are saying that Mumbai is polluted, Mumbai requires clean air. So for that, we have metros. We have to speed up that work, which work was completely stopped during the 2.5 years.
Mr. Ramkadam, since of all the things that the Chief Minister, the former Chief Minister rather spoke about, you've chosen to talk about RA, but I want to ask you that there is a fear that with Devendra Fadnavis now being arguably the most powerful person essentially in the Maharashtra government, will be pushing for several development projects at the cost of the environment. And this is not what Uddhav Thackeray said, this is what many activists have also been saying.
Pardon please? Your voice is skipping, I could not hear you well.
Okay, I was asking you that there is a fear among many activists also that this is the possibility that at the cost of the environment, many development projects will be pushed. This is something that Devendra Fadnavis has done in the past as well.
No. See, environmentalists, their claim, if you look at it, they are talking about RA, whereas we are not supposed to fail a single tree now. So we are not compromising with environment. Already in RA also 4 times done that. whichever trees have been felled, we have planted 4 times more trees in the same RA compound. So it's not the fact that Devendra ji is in favor of development works. During his tenure, we have seen the development works were speeding up very well. But past 2.5 years, when Uddhav Thackeray was the chief minister, Aghadi government was there, all these development works were stopped.
Okay.
My one question, when Shiv Sena has a problem of this RA metro car shed, they have suggested another land which was there in Kanjurmarg, which land's litigation is pending with the Honorable High Court. And there are some private parties. They have also claim on that land. Central government also they have claim on that land. Then why Mr. Uddhav Thackeray or his party is opposing this development project? They should not oppose this development project.
Another question I want to ask you, and I did ask you this in the beginning, but I'm going to repeat it. You know, the fact that he's spoken about BJP sticking to its position and to its promise of a chief minister for 2.5 years, a rotation discussion that you previously had with the Sena, which didn't work out, and then you all fell out essentially. What I want to ask you is that Uddhav Thackeray is saying that what has the BJP got in all of this? You have a Shiv Sainik again at the helm of affairs.
Your voice is echoing, so I could not understand.
Okay, I apologize. We'll try and fix that, but I'm going to once again try and ask you that question. I hope it's better for you now this time around. What I'm asking you, Mr. Ram Kadam, is the BJP has got nothing in this, is what Uddhav Thackeray has just said. You could have stuck to our own agreement, our promises that we made a couple of years ago. There would have been no Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government then. The Shiv Sainiks and the BJP would have been together. What have you achieved in all of this is the question that Thackeray is now asking.
No, your voice is still echoing. I'm sorry. Your voice is still echoing. Something is wrong with the range.
Okay.
You can hear me well?
I can hear you fine, Mr. Kadam. All right, we'll try and reconnect with you again, Mr. Ram Kadam. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to go to my colleague Vidya, who's also tracking that big story. Vidya, your reaction and to what Uddhav Thackeray has said today and essentially how he said it. What has the BJP gained? You don't have a BJP chief minister. You know, you could have got this sort of an agreement with us. Even in the past, the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government would have not been there, is what he said. What do you really make of what he said today vis-a-vis the possibilities, you know, of what really did not work out in the past?
Well, obviously, you know, this is what the Samna editorial as well as Uddhav Thackeray have said today, is that, you know, the BJP has gained nothing. They did not even gain a CM for 5 years that they were really hoping when they were bargaining with Shiv Sena. You know, even now, they have put, they claim to have put a Shiv Sainik, but, and in fact, right here on that very line, he added that Eknath Shinde is not a Shiv Sainik. He said it very clearly, stating that this is not a Shiv Sena CM. So people who betray the party are not their members at all. And in fact, in the end, he did also add that you know, when I left the CM's post, I know a lot of people cried, and I will never, you know, betray those people who have cried for me. So, you know, that traitor, that betrayal is written large on you know, the people who are here with Uddhav Thackeray at this juncture. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray very clearly saying that neither did you gain anything, nor did I. In fact, the BJP, which had really wanted the CM's post for 5 years, Fadnavis had been eyeing that he would come back as a CM of Maharashtra again, but then he could not. And even now, even though after this entire, you know, earth-shattering Maharashtra political crisis that we had seen, even after that, there is no CM of BJP. So he is very clear in this, you know, in his statement when he says that if you had really agreed, then there would not even have been an MVA either. There would not have been an entire coalition of MVA, which you called as the, you know, the unnatural alliance. That would not have happened either. So all this happened because the BJP was being so adamant and did not want to give, as he again reiterated what he had been saying in 2000. 2019 that between Amit Shah and Shiv Sena, the top leaders, when the meeting was held, the closed door meeting had clearly stated that the chief minister would be of 2.5 years of either party together for the 5 years. But right now, again, as he had said in 2019, that BJP was the one which was not agreeing to what they had promised, and that is the reason why this MVA had really formed, because of the adamant behavior of the national political party.
You know, Vidya, the other issue that's going to become a huge flashpoint once again, it's something that's very close to Uddhav Thackre's heart, is the RA forest issue. And this is something that they're going to go to town with. He spoke about this in his address also just now, that here we have a government again that is going to reverse this decision and ensure that the environment has to pay a cost for development. That's not necessarily the way forward, is the message from Uddhav Thackray, isn't it?
Well, you know, in fact, in Mumbai, the RA has been a very crucial issue. The BJP has been very clear in saying that, you know, if they move the car shed from RA, the cost of building this entire metro will escalate to a very large extent, which would really not make this entire project viable. However, Uddhav Thackeray and his team, including Aditya Thackeray, who has been vehemently standing for the environmental issues, has very categorically said whatever is the escalation in the price, it could not be more than environment, because it is the green lung of Mumbai and it needs to be saved, is something that the Thackeray have been saying since 2019 as well. Before these protests really happened, before RA actually became such a huge boiling point in Mumbai, there were many cases that were registered against those who had been protesting. All those, in fact, FIRs were scrapped by this government against those people. So, you know, the Uddhav Thackeray-led government had been very for pro-environmental on this issue. On the other hand, the BJP and everyone knew that in case the BJP really comes to power, this entire issue would be reversed. There would be no, you know, a car shed in RA instead of Kanjurmarg. Of course, the Kanjurmarg area is under litigation. There is no denying that. But what Uddhav Thackeray, even today, what he said is what is wrong in building a car shed even in Navi Mumbai, or you can take it even further. It's only a car shed that needs to be built. The cost of it will certainly increase, but nothing can be more than a cost of environment. And that is what he has been reiterating again today when he was addressing the media.
All right, Vidya, thanks so much for getting us up to speed with that. Vidya, getting us all of those details from Sena Bhavan, where former Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray just spoke a few moments ago. Now, staying with Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray has lost the Chief Minister's chair. The battle for Bala Sahib's Shiv Sena party is left to be fought. After Shinde claimed that his new outfit will be called Shiv Sena Bala Sahib, this fight has intensified. Here's a ground report.
Shinde wins the Game of Thrones. Uddhav's Sarkar falls like a pack of cards. While wrinkles of government formation have been ironed out, another war will continue. One symbol, one party, two claimants. Both Shinde Sena and Uddhav Sena are at loggerheads over who is the real Sena. And this battle will be fought before Election Commission. Eknath Shinde's camp is all set to claim the Shiv Sena party symbol, the bow and arrow.
शिवसेना आपलीच आहे. शिवसेना कधीही आपल्यापासून कोणी हिरावून घेऊ शकत नाही. अजिबात नाही. ना शिवसेना हिरावून घेऊ शकत, ना तुमच्यापासून आम्हाला ठाकरे कुटुंबियांना कोणी हिरावून घेऊ शकत.
बाला साहब ठाकरे, इनकी शिवसेना, हम लोग आगे ले जा रहे हैं. बाला साहब जी का हिंदुत्व जो है, इससे हम लोग आगे ले जा रहे हैं.
Shinde has made it a point to pay respects to Bala Sahib Thackeray. After becoming CM, he changed his Twitter profile picture to one with the Sena Supremo. Shinde camp has hailed his nomination as CM as a tribute to Bala Sahib.
आज उन्होंने शिवसेना प्रमुख बाला साहब ठाकरे जी के सैनिक को एक सपोर्ट किया है. इसलिए मैं आदरणीय पंतप्रधान नरेंद्र जी मोदी साहब को धन्यवाद देता हूं, उनका आभार मानता हूं.
Uddhav Sena has time and again hit back at the Shinde camp over Shiv Sena's legacy, with Sanjay Raut leading the way.
हे राज्य छत्रपती शिवाजी महाराजांचं, शाहू फुले, आंबेडकर, बाळासाहेब ठाकरे, यशवंतराव चव्हाण अशा अनेक महान लोकांनी राज्य घडवायला खूप मोठे श्रम आणि कष्ट घेतले. त्यांचा विचारांचा वारसा घेऊन राज्य पुढे चाललं होतं. पण शेवटी हे सरकार पाडण्यासाठी पहिल्या दिवसापासून प्रयत्न सुरू होते आणि ते कोणत्या प्रकारे प्रयत्न सुरू होते वारंवार आम्हाला लक्षात येत होतं.
For either camp, the fight for the real Shiv Sena will be an uphill task. The fight will be decided by the Election Commission. Bureau Report, India Today.
And the war really is on for the real Sena. Who is the real Sena is the question that is being asked. Now, both the factions are promising to carry forward the legacy of Bala Sahib Thackeray. That's extremely important when it comes to Shiv Sena. Also, there is a fight which of course is on over Sena's party symbol, the bow and arrow party symbol. It remains to be seen who wins that fight. Election Commission to take a decision on real Sena's party symbol. That too is going to be a battle for both of these factions. Real Sena must have support from party office bearers. Extremely important. Without that support, which is going to be then the real Sena? Who's going to decide that? Having majority of the MLAs is just not good enough. What about the cadre? What about the Shiv Sainiks on the ground? The Shiv Sainiks are supporting the Eknath Shinde faction or the Uddhav Thackeray faction. Now, in the first big move, the Shinde government has overturned ex-Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray's important decision to then move the metro car project out of RA, and that has been fairly controversial. Uddhav Thackeray also spoken about it just a few moments ago when he addressed the press, when he spoke to the people, saying that this is something that he is not happy about and this is betrayal of the people. The Maharashtra government is relocating the metro car shed project back to RA colony, a decision that Thackeray had reversed. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde and his deputy Devendra Fadnavis in the first cabinet meeting held after assuming power on Thursday took this key decision. Fadnavis directed the Urban Development Department officials to bring a proposal for building the car shed at RA before the cabinet. Former Chief Minister Thackeray on the 29th of November 2019 had overturned Fadnavis's decision to build the car shed at RA. Soon after the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government came to power, the 812 acre of land in RA was declared as a reserve forest.
It is a shocking development, and absolutely, why Mr. Devendra Fadnavis is so keen to get the metro car shed back to RA. A lot of people have agitated, social activists, NGOs, political leaders, they came, and the way the trees were cut, almost 3,000 trees stand to be cut for the development, and this is exactly what has not gone correct with the citizens of Mumbai.
Meanwhile, my colleague Akshita Nandgopal spoke to activists Zoru Bathena and Stalin Dayanand. They're up in arms over Shinde government's decision to shift back the metro car shed to Mumbai's RA colony.
You had led this massive movement against the metro car project being put up in the RA colony. It was finally shifted out. Now, Eknath Shinde and Fadnavis plan to move it back.
Yes, definitely it is back to square one, but the fact is that it is back to square one with a different revelation altogether. Today we know that the builders of Mumbai control the infrastructure projects and the land parcels in Mumbai. So that is the difference. Today we know which builder was after which land and why Mr. Fadnavis started dancing to a different tune. Now we all know it. Let people know the truth. We will bring out the truth. We have brought it out earlier also. We will reinforce it and we will show the people the truth. Why all this drama has been played out. It is strange that one builder or some builders can come together and topple a government. The RA land, let us be very clear, the RA land, Mr. Fadnavis, even today if you ask him, he will say it is 33 hectares of land which they need for the metro car shed. The car shed cannot be built there because there is less than 12 hectares of land available. The rest is covered by trees, the trees which are protected by an honorable Supreme Court order. And now the fact is that the actual transfer of the land to the MMRCL, the company which is making the metro car shed, is not 33 but 65 hectares. So there is a huge game going on here, which Mr. Fadnavis thinks that will be swept under the carpet using his Shinde Sena. So we will try and bring the truth out. There's little we can do beyond that. We will tell people the truth and we will start our fight again. That's all I would have to say.
Zoru, are you ready again to start off the campaign? Is there going to be again a massive movement like we saw in 2019 where, we had so many Mumbaikars joining the social media campaign, also hitting the streets, staging protests in RA? Is that all going to come back?
This entire campaign from day one has been about the lies of the Fadnavis government. And right up to 2019, the people have seen through these lies. That is why people have come out. They have realized that saving RA is just not about saving trees. It is about saving a forest, saving an environment from absolute lies. Fortunately or unfortunately, when the Thackeray government came into power, they decided to move the metro depot out of RA, and Mr. Fadnavis continued to put spokes in the wheel through the union government, by claiming that the alternate site was a salt pan and all sorts of other nonsense. These are absolute lies. From day one, alternate sites have been available and feasible, but Mr. Fadnavis just doesn't want to take the depot out of RA for reasons best known to him. And Mumbaikars have seen through these lies, and we hope that everybody comes together and sees through his lies even today.
Well, the man who led the rebellion against Uddhav Thackeray is now Maharashtra's chief minister. From an auto rickshaw driver to the chief minister, from facing personal tragedies to beating all odds in the political scene. Here's everything you need to know about the man who is taking the center stage in Maharashtra politics.
From an auto rickshaw driver in Thane to the Chief Minister of India's wealthiest state, Eknath Shinde's ride to the top was not a smooth one by any stretch of imagination. Shinde was struck by tragedy when his political career was taking shape. He lost two of his children in a tragic accident. His 11-year-old son Deepesh and 7-year-old daughter Shubda drowned in front of his eyes in Satara. After the accident, Shinde became a recluse and contemplated quitting politics. But his mentor Anand Dighe, Shiv Sena's mass leader from Thane, convinced him to remain in active politics. Dighe gave Shinde a seat in the Thane municipal body. When Dighe died, the mantle to build Sena in Thane fell on Shinde. In 2004, Balasaheb Thackeray gave him a ticket in the assembly elections. Shinde won. Loyalty is what served Shinde the most. He was loyal to Dighe. He was loyal to Balasaheb. And later he was loyal to Uddhav Thackeray when Balasaheb anointed the son his successor. When political heavyweights like Raj Thackeray and Narayan Rane rebelled and quit the party, Shinde stuck by Uddhav's side, bringing crowds to Sena rallies and ensuring the party writ ran in Thane and Navi Mumbai. And he was rewarded for that. Shinde was picked to be the leader of opposition and later urban development minister in his government by Uddhav. The word is that Shinde was Uddhav's nominee to be the CM when Sharad Pawar torpedoed the move and convinced the Shiv Sena chief to take up the job in 2019. Shinde's revolt naturally stunned Uddhav, especially when it came just days after the rebel had accompanied Aditya Thackeray to Ayodhya. Shinde's rise to the top stunned even his family. This when his only surviving son, Shrikant, is a member of parliament.
बोला ना काय वाटतंय आनंद होतो एवढ्या वर्ष साहेबांनी कष्ट केले संघटना वाढवली आनंद होतो बहुत ज्यादा खुश आप बताओ कितनी खुशी हो रही है
बहुत हम लोग बता भी नहीं सकते इतनी खुशी हुई है हम लोग
पहले तो विश्वास नहीं हुआ लेकिन अभी कंफर्म बहुत अच्छा लगा
जैसा तुम्हारा चैनल के माध्यम से सीएम बन रहे हैं तो जैसा मैंने घर में बताया ये अभिनंदन किया भाभी का कि अपना भाई मुख्यमंत्री बन गए
The crafty politician that he is, Shinde would know he has got a crown of thorns. But then, Shinde has weathered many storms to reach the summit. The auto driver turned politician's ability to navigate the roadblocks will decide how long he stays there. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, the ED has grilled Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut in connection with the Patra Chawl land scam case at noon. Before appearing for a second summon, Raut said he would cooperate with the investigators in this matter. Sena leader was first summoned by ED to appear before them on Tuesday. But Raut had skipped the summons, citing important party meetings, seeking some time up until the 7th of July. However, ED has rejected his request, asking him to appear before them today. The ED wants to question Raut in an alleged money laundering case linked to the redevelopment of the Patra Chawl in Mumbai's Goregaon. ED has attached property worth crores related to Raut, said Praveen Raut. Assets worth around 2 crore belonging to Sanjay Raut's wife Varsha has also been attached in over 1,000 crore Patra Chawl land scam case. The central agency has claimed proceeds of crime worth 83 lakh allegedly went to Sanjay Raut's wife.
अगर पॉलिटिकल दबाव में अगर हमारे जैसे लोगों पर एक्शन होती है तो उसके लिए मैं तैयार हूँ। इमरजेंसी में आपातकाल में यही हुआ था। मैं मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हूँ, लॉ मेकर हूँ, तो मैं कानून का सम्मान करता हूँ। मुझे मालूम है ये सब क्यों हो रहा है, ये सब कौन कर रहा है, लेकिन आज मैं नहीं बोलूँगा क्योंकि आज मैं एक समन्स के ऊपर वहाँ जा रहा हूँ। इस देश की एक सर्वोच्च जांच एजेंसी है ईडी, मुझे समझ भेजा है, उनको कुछ जानकारी चाहिए। मेरा कर्तव्य बनता है एज ए मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट, इस देश का नागरिक, एक जिम्मेदार पॉलिटिकल पार्टी शिवसेना का नेता होने के नाते मेरा कर्तव्य होता है मैं जाकर सामने उनके साथ कोऑपरेट करूं। मैं बहुत निर्भय और बेडर आदमी हूं और मैं इसलिए बेडर हूं कमांडर कि मैंने कभी मेरी जिंदगी में गलत काम नहीं किया है।
क्या ये राजनीति से प्रेरित मानते हैं आप पूरी तरह?
अगर प्रेरित है तो उसका बाद में पता चलेगा, मैं अभी बात नहीं करूंगा। मैं लगता है कि मैं एक न्यूट्रल एजेंसी के सामने जा रहा हूं और मेरा पूरा विश्वास है। धन्यवाद।
जो भी उनके मन में प्रश्न है, शंका है, उनका निराकरण होना चाहिए। हम हमारी जो भूमिका है, हमारी साइड है, उनके सामने रखेंगे। इस देश में कानून का राज है, मैं मानता हूँ, और कानून हो या न्यायालय हो, ये जो संस्थाएं हैं उनके ऊपर मैं हमेशा विश्वास रखता हूँ क्योंकि मैं एक लॉ मेकर हूँ। इतने सालों से अगर मैं मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हूँ, पीपल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हूँ, तो मुझे ऐसी एजेंसी से भागना नहीं चाहिए जो जैसे लोग भाग जाते हैं, देश छोड़कर चले जाते हैं। मैं उनमें से नहीं हूँ।
शिवसेना MP Sanjay Raut has appeared before the Enforcement Directorate. Enforcement Directorate had summoned Sanjay Raut in connection with the Patra Chawl case. He was earlier summoned when he had sought time from the Enforcement Directorate, citing a public meeting that he had in Alibag, after which second summons was issued and he was asked to appear before the agency today. Sanjay Raut a while ago arrived at the ED office. Speaking to media, Sanjay Raut said that he has never done anything wrong. He doesn't know where Patra Chawl is located. He has no connection with the Patra Chawl case and will answer whatever questions are posed to him by ED officers. With camera person Swapnil, this is Divyesh Singh in Mumbai for India Today.
It's time for a quick break. Here on the other side, sensational 2611 linked to the Udaipur beheading. Killers paid 5,000 rupees to get a special 2611 bike number plate. CCTV images of how killers fled has been accessed.
all political parties traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political back.
she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold, and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today. You are watching
Some news just coming in. This is a big development in the Udaipur beheading case with 14-day judicial remand for the two accused. Accused Mohsin and Asif were arrested today, and now they have 14-day judicial remand for the two accused in this case who have in fact been caught on camera carrying out that heinous crime in Udaipur. Arvind Oja is joining us for more details on that story. Arvind, 14 दिन की जुडिशियल रिमांड मिली है इन दोनों अक्यूज को जो कैमरा में कॉट हुए हैं ये क्राइम कैरी आउट करते हुए।
जी बिल्कुल, देखिए जो रियाज और मोहम्मद गौस इनको सबसे पहले अरेस्ट किया गया था जिन्होंने हत्याकांड को अंजाम दिया गया, और इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बाद आपको बताऊं मोहम्मद आसिफ और मोहसिन को कल रात जो उदयपुर एटीएस है उन्होंने अरेस्ट किया है। एटीएस आईजी से इंडिया टुडे ने बात की है। उनका कहना है कि मोहसिन और जो आसिफ है ये दोनों कॉन्स्पिरेसी में पूरी तरह से शामिल थे रियाज और मोहम्मद गौस के साथ, और इन्हें हत्याकांड की पूरी जानकारी थी। इन्होंने फैसिलिटेट किया था और हत्याकांड में पूरी तरह से साथ दिया था। तो कुल मिलाकर अब तक इस हत्याकांड में 4 लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया गया है। अब से कुछ देर पहले उदयपुर की कोर्ट में मोहसिन और आसिफ को जब प्रोड्यूस किया गया तो कोर्ट में जमकर वकीलों ने नारेबाजी की है और जमकर प्रोटेस्ट किया है। भारी सुरक्षा के बीच दोनों को पेश किया गया है और 14 दिन की जुडिशियल कस्टडी में कोर्ट ने भेज दिया। साथ ही साथ फिलहाल एनआईए के 4 ऑफिसर कोर्ट में मौजूद है और वो जो अभी फिलहाल अदालत ने जो केस है वो एनआईए को ट्रांसफर कर दिया है। एनआईए की कोशिश ये है